treat this severe threat seriously. It may have been quiet for now, but we still have a long night ahead. The next, I would say, 4 hours is going to be crucial, especially as these storms continue to move into very favorable environments: Mississippi, northern Alabama, and parts of Tennessee. Chris,
this is associated with a tornado-warned storm. In fact, it's heading in his direction right now. Cary, Mississippi is just on the outside of the tornado warning, but on the east side of the tornado warning. And so you can see that right here. Here's Cary, Mississippi, And so my guess is we're seeing maybe a lot of lightning in this direction. That's my guess. He's probably looking north. Well, there's a lot of lightning almost any direction.
Yeah, but he's on the right side where you'd want to be to see a funnel or a tornado out ahead of the rain, looking back towards the west. So maybe if the lightning, there's a lot of lightning, it could illuminate things in the night sky. We've seen that before in past events.
Just there, did you see that? That last lightning flash, it almost looked like there's a low-hanging either scud cloud or something there. And that's what you really have to wait and rely on to see what is going on in the structure of the storm there. So it is possible, even when it's pitch dark outside, to be able to figure out what's going on if you are a seasoned tracker and you know what you're doing.
Ooh,
Look at that.
I saw that.
Did you see? Because you can see the ragged nature of the clouds there off in the distance. And this does have some pretty significant rotation associated with it. This is a tornado-warned storm. The storm tracker is outside of the warning, but about 10 miles away from where the tightest rotation is, and there is lightning all over the place here in central East Carroll Parish.
Yeah, look at that rotation. That's some of the strongest signature we've seen when it comes to rotation tonight with some of these tornado-warned storms. And even look at the radar, how there's a little bit of a circle kind of embedded in there. You can see how there's rotation with that dark, deeper reds kind of rotating out, almost got a hook, but then there's some rain being wrapped into the center.
That's what you're looking at this, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So that's where that possible tornado would be, kind of just south of Mayorsville.
Which is now in Mississippi now, yeah. So it was in Louisiana. It's crossed over the river. It's now in Mississippi. New warning associated with this cell here, and it does now include Cary, Mississippi.
Yeah, so they extended the tornado warning, which means they're pretty confident that this is going to continue to possibly strengthen. Treat the system seriously. Please get into your safe place if you live here in Humphreys and Sharkey counties, Anguilla, Belzoni, Cary, Mississippi, as well as Rolling Fork. A possible tornado moving in your vicinity. This is a very dangerous storm. We've got extended coverage tonight here on the Weather Channel through 1 a.m. Eastern, midnight tonight. We'll go all night long as we track severe weather and tornadoes.
Severe storms continue to impact us across the lower Mississippi Valley. Right now, we're getting a chance to look live in on one of our storm trackers who is in and around Cary, Mississippi. You can see the flashes of lightning, of course, associated with some of the thunderstorms. This is an area where we are under a warning, actually a tornado warning. Storms are just off towards our west, getting ready to move on in. In fact, we have multiple tornado warnings that are in effect at this hour, and of course we will run you through them all. But again, getting a chance to look in the night sky here, and really the only opportunity to see much out there is from those flashes of lightning at this hour. Thanks so much for staying with us here for our continuing live coverage of tonight's severe thunderstorm threat. We've got the risk for damaging winds, we've got the risk for some hail, we got the risk for tornadoes as well. A busy day and a busy night that is upon us. So, of course, we've got Carl Parker, our storm specialist, who's here to track some of these storms as well. And Carl, we've seen the active weather already today, and this just continues even now into the nighttime hours.
Yeah, Alex, we've got some really high-end parameters tonight. We're talking about a lot of low-level wind shear in the atmosphere, very strong winds at several levels of the atmosphere, and plenty of instability, and that is going to drive this tornado threat. And in fact, those low-level winds are going to be getting stronger over the next several hours, and so we're going to continue to see a serious tornado threat going through the night tonight. There you see the tornado watches that are in effect until late tonight in Mississippi and Louisiana. We've got a tornado warning to tell you about right now in Issaquena County in western Mississippi until 8:45. Considerable threat tag along with that. Downstream warning as well. Humphreys and Sharkey County going until 9 p.m. Again, a considerable threat tag. We are seeing right now very strong rotation showing up just east of Lake Providence, and this is moving towards the northeast at 55 miles per hour. And so on that trajectory, that coming towards Rolling Fork, towards Anguilla, Louise, also Silver City and Belzoni as well. I'm going to go back a couple of frames here. Let's see if we've got a pretty good sense of the vector. That does appear to be the path that it's on. And again, a very serious situation here with the strong rotation now showing up, and that coming towards Rolling Fork and towards Anguilla. So if you're in either of those towns, you need to get to your safe place right now. And our Jordan Hall is actually tracking this storm right now. We want to bring him in on the phone. Jordan, where are you relative to this cell?
I'm about 5 miles south of Rolling Fork right now, and we have big wall cloud here off to my west. I'm moving north right now as this thing's really ramping up. A lot of inflow. The trees are really blowing here. A lot of warm, moist air getting sucked right into this thing.
And what's your visibility in this area? A lot of tree cover around there?
I'm actually down here in the delta right now, so I can actually see pretty clear off to my west. I'm going to try to turn the stream that direction here, but large wall cloud over here off to my west as well.
Okay. And so this thing is moving right along and now moving at about 55 miles per hour. Are you able to see anything coming out of that lowering there?
Nothing that I can define yet, no.
Okay. Wow, look at that lightning right there. Well, we certainly want to keep in touch with you because we're seeing a really strong velocity signature right now, not seeing anything on the correlation coefficient as of yet. But very strong rotation here. We'll get back with Jordan coming up here in just a few minutes. So again, Jordan is now just south of Rolling Fork. So Jordan's on this road right in here. There you see that strong rotation that is again coming towards Rolling Fork and Anguilla as well. So if you're in either of those towns, please get to your safe place right now. I'm going to circle this again, and let's take a look and see if there is any evidence of debris at this time. Not seeing any evidence of debris right now. So the red color right there indicating that all the objects that the radar is picking up are more rounded in shape and so more likely to be rain and or hail. If we see any green showing up there or any blue signatures, that would be more irregular and that could be indicative of debris. We're not seeing that right now, but we are seeing a very strong rotation. There's a new scan that has just come in, and it looks like we've got some, this is called aliasing, anti-aliasing here. It looks like we've got some weird data coming in there, but still very strong rotation. Yes, go ahead. Okay, we've got a confirmed large wedge tornado on the ground here. And let's zoom in, get a little bit tighter right in there. So this is coming right into Rolling Fork right now. And we've got a confirmed large wedge tornado on the ground right now. If you're in Rolling Fork, anywhere near Rolling Fork, you've got to get to your safe place right now. Lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible. This is as serious as it gets. We're talking about a significant tornado that has been confirmed here. Very strong rotation now showing up, and this is just moments away from coming into Rolling Fork. This is moving northeast at 55 miles per hour, and so it is just about on top of you in Rolling Fork. Coming into Rolling Fork in about 2 minutes. Got about 2 minutes in Rolling Fork, then coming towards Anguilla. After that, maybe just a little to the south, and then perhaps to the south of Ritchie as well, and coming up towards that Route 14 corridor. Again, let's look and see if there's some debris. There does appear to be debris. Okay, so I'm going to get in a little bit tighter here. So that right there is our tornado. That is the tornado showing up. And again, that is coming towards Rolling Fork right now. And again, we've got a confirmed large wedge tornado now moving up towards 14 and Rolling Fork. So if you are in Rolling Fork, you've got to get to your safe place right now. And Jordan Hall is just to the south of this, coming up towards Rolling Fork. I don't know if we've got him on the phone, but we're looking at, okay, we're looking at his shot right there. But, you know, this is one of the scariest things you can come across, because you're talking about a large and dangerous tornado that is moving very quickly. And, of course, you don't have any light at all. And so the only way that you can get your eyes on this is when it's illuminated by lightning. Very dangerous situation. Again, if you are in Rolling Fork or anywhere near Rolling Fork, that intersection of routes 14 and 16 and 61, you've got to get to your safe place right now. This is as serious as it gets. A lot of lightning showing up with this. Wow, look at that. Yeah, not a surprise at all. And again, we've got a tornado showing up right now. Let's go back to the radar, and I want to show you once again that we've got on this is called the correlation coefficient. So that area of green that is showing up right there, that is where we've got irregular shapes that are being picked up by the radar. So that is either tree debris, or in some cases it can be structural debris. Whatever the case, it is not rain or hail, and the radar is able to differentiate between rain and hail. And it looks like we've now got a new tornado warning here. This is a tornado emergency, I believe now. Yes, tornado emergency for Rolling Fork and also for Anguilla. And this is from the National Weather Service as of 8:03. Confirmed large and destructive tornado located over Rolling Fork, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. And again, you've got to get to your safe place right now. This is as serious as it gets. And Chaser's reporting now that the funnel is 1 mile wide. 1 mile wide. And so we're seeing that debris that is coming into Rolling Fork. We're going to get a new scan any moment now. Very strong rotation now showing up and coming towards Rolling Fork and coming towards that 61 corridor. So again, please, this is just as scary as it gets, folks. If you're in Rolling Fork in Anguilla, you've got just moments. It may actually be coming into Rolling Fork right now because there's a little bit of a delay. We get these radar images in every few minutes, and it takes a little time from the time that the radar image is ingested and processed and it comes out to our graphics. So it's probably right over Rolling Fork right now, and again, moving really rapidly, moving to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. This is as serious as it gets, folks, and we want you to take this very, very seriously as this continues to move off to the north. So moving into Rolling Fork, and again, I'm going to move this forward a little bit because we're still awaiting a new radar scan, but I'm guessing that it's probably forward. So it's probably now coming into Rolling Fork. In fact, I'm going to move it even a little farther ahead than that. Coming into Rolling Fork right now, then Anguilla, about 8:13 or so, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. Then looks like it's on track to pass to the north of Louise, but could come very close to Silver City if it is still going at that time. So again, as I mentioned, this is as dangerous as it gets. We're looking at the debris showing up here. We've got a brand new scan. Okay, not seeing the debris right now. So the debris was showing up one scan ago, but not seeing it right now. Let's go back to Jordan Hall. Jordan, what are you seeing right now?
I have a rain-wrapped tornado just to my north here. I am south of Rolling Fork. It had crossed the road. I had turned around and blasted south. I do not have a visual on it anymore. It is completely rain-wrapped, but very strong RFD.
Wow. Really scary situation there. It's always, I know, difficult to chase and travel in the dark like that. And we hope that you stay safe out there. Just a very scary night here across parts of Mississippi. Again, this is a tornado emergency for Rolling Fork and also for Anguilla as this cell continues to move off to the north. All right, let's quickly get on to some other warnings because we do have some other tornado warnings to tell you about. We'll come back to this in just a moment. I want to take you farther north and up into the northern part of Mississippi right now. Quitman and Tallahatchie counties under warning right now for a tornado. And we're seeing now we're actually on the edge of the radar. Unfortunately, sometimes you don't get as good of a look, but we're looking at that little notch showing up just west of Charleston. That coming into Charleston about 8:20 or so, Oakland 8:30, and Hubbard Creek at 8:36. Also a warning here for severe wind, Benton, Fayette, Marshall counties in Tennessee and Mississippi. Another warning here with the tornado possible tag south of Philadelphia in Mississippi. And that is going to be moving off to the northeast and towards DeKalb here as that continues to the east. Okay, jumping back. Again, there is now a tornado emergency in effect. Tornado emergency in effect for Humphreys and Sharkey counties in Mississippi. This is in the Delta region, and looking at the latest in the velocity, so that is the very strong rotation. I mean, you look at the velocities of these winds that are coming towards the radar and away from the radar. We're seeing really strong broad rotation here, and so that is the area where that circulation is coming into Rolling Fork. And looking at the debris, a very strong debris signature. Oh my gosh, this is just really heartbreaking to see this because it looks like this has just come right into the center of Rolling Fork. And, now that that has happened, we're seeing a much stronger debris signature. So here we see it coming in, and there we see in this most recent scan a robust debris signature now showing up in Rolling Fork. And so, our hearts going out to the people here in Rolling Fork. This is a tragedy unfolding in front of our eyes here. If you're in Anguilla, you've got a monster that is just off to your southwest. You need to take this very, very seriously. Get to the lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible. We've got a large wedge tornado, a large debris signature now in Rolling Fork. This tornado has just hit Rolling Fork. And again, remember that these images are just a little behind. We're not getting exactly real time with these images. They're just a little behind. And so this is actually probably ahead of where it appears to be right now, but that is a large cloud of debris that is now showing up here, and this is moving off towards the northeast very rapidly. Trying to get a good sense of the trajectory. Looks like it's probably moving just about northeast, maybe slightly south of northeast, and so that'll be coming towards Anguilla at 8:14. Moving into Ritchie at 8:21, Gooden Lake at 8:32, and Silver City at 8:36. And, Alex, this is just one of the hardest things, when you do this, to see this, because, when you're looking at something like this, that lives are being changed right now.
Yeah, it really is a sobering sight, being able to see it taking place, right? But the thing is, the folks there may not be able to see it. And I think we want to drive home that point.
Yeah.
It's at night. We just heard from Jordan Hall, one of the storm trackers out there, saying this thing's rain wrapped. You just can't see it. It's dark. All you can see is lightning flashes that maybe illuminates this tornado, which at this point has been described as being a large wedge tornado 1 mile wide. So this is a destructive tornado coming on through. And unfortunately, as you pointed out, Carl, we have seen it show up here for us on the radar. The indication there, on the ground, truth from the storm trackers as well. And that's why that tornado emergency is currently in place. So please, if you're in these areas now, moving beyond Rolling Fork, you certainly want to make sure you're getting into that safe zone. If you're in and around Louise, points north and east from there as well, please make sure you're getting into that lowest floor of a sturdy structure and getting away from windows. You want to be in an interior room, a bathroom, a closet. Make sure you have a helmet as well, because you have to imagine if there's a lot of debris flying around, that could hit you in the head. You want to make sure you're protected by that as well. And make sure you have shoes wherever you're going, sturdy shoes for you as well, because in the event of that there is a lot of damage in the aftermath, you don't want to be walking around barefoot. So again, these are things that need to be done beforehand to have in your safe zone, so that when these emergencies take place, you can get there quickly and you're already set. But unfortunately, this is what we are seeing right now with this very, very dangerous storm and tornado that is in place. Again, a tornado emergency in effect here for us. This is in Mississippi for us in the counties of Humphreys and Sharkey, and that is until 9 o'clock Central Time. Again, this has been observed, so this is not a maybe situation. This is happening. It's been spotted by storm trackers. It's been confirmed on the radar that we do have a dangerous tornado at this point. So again, Rolling Fork, that's the area that's being impacted essentially now, and then pushing now on off towards the north and the east. We'll be continuing to watch this. Again, you can see the area that's highlighted in the pink. You don't see that pink very often when we talk about warnings, because that is a heightened warning. It's a tornado emergency here for us. And we'll continue to time it out, showing you some of the other cities that could be involved in this. So giving you the heads up now, the Ritchie area, 8:27 midnight, as we get to about 8:35.
Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of a very serious situation now unfolding in Mississippi. There is an ongoing tornado emergency in effect right now, that for Humphreys and Sharkey counties going until 9 p.m. A confirmed destructive and large tornado now coming through this region. We'll take a look at the velocity data. Very strong signature now showing up here in the velocity data that has just passed through the town of Rolling Fork. We fear that there's going to be significant damage. A town of about 2,000 people in the Delta in Mississippi. This is now moving northeast rapidly, 55 miles per hour on that trajectory, coming towards Silver City. It's got a lot of farmland it's going to be going through initially, but then coming towards midnight here, about 8:33. Silver City at 8:38. Belzoni at about 8:43. And we want to take a look at Rolling Fork right now and see what's going on here. And we are looking at, unfortunately, some significant damage in this area. You know, Alex, you know, as we were watching this go through, we saw that there was a very strong velocity signature moving into Rolling Fork. And the moment that it came into Rolling Fork, we then saw a very strong debris signature. And knowing that there's not a lot out there, there's a lot of farmland, and it came right into that town, that was almost certainly largely structural debris that we were seeing there. So, you know, I fear that, you know, this is really a tragedy that has occurred here in Rolling Fork.
Yeah, and, you know, again, this is fresh, live. We're looking at it right now. I mean, clearly you can kind of pick out just a bit there, kind of on the right side of the screen. It's tough. It almost looks like there might be a vehicle that might be on its side. It's tough to tell there, with all sorts of other debris as well. That's on the right side. You can clearly see some flashing sort of emergency lights there on the left as well. So clearly a storm has moved through that has caused some significant damage here. We'll no doubt get a better vantage of view of the damage when we get into the light of tomorrow morning. But for now, this is what we have. Again, this thing just moved on through again within the last 10-15 minutes, and we witnessed it here on the radar. It was as clear as day. First with the rotation, and then we saw the debris signature. It was pretty evident that this was going to be a situation that we saw some damage. And unfortunately, this storm, it's not finished. It continues to roll on and continues to be a very strong storm as it's moving its way towards the north and the east. General speed is around 50 miles per hour. But this is what it has left behind in a part of Rolling Fork. There right in the middle of your screen looks like a vehicle, again, that has been flipped on its side. And you've got other debris there showing up there on the right side as well. So there is certain damage there. And I imagine there's probably going to be more that we unfortunately have to deal with there in and around Rolling Fork, but also some other areas down the road as this storm continues to show the rotation on the radar, and the tornado emergency that continues to remain in effect out there for us as well. That's there again in Mississippi as we had a large tornado roll right, unfortunately, through Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Right now, you can see folks are kind of gathered around there. It looks like a car. They're kind of getting themselves out of there. It's tough to tell. I mean, maybe someone could be potentially injured there as they're trying to get them out to a safer area, but it clearly was a bad situation that we're seeing right now. Not exactly sure where we are in Rolling Fork, but this is in Rolling Fork, an area that was hit by this tornado. Again, it was witnessed here by storm trackers, witnessing it, saying it was a large and wedge-shaped tornado, 1 mile wide, was actually said at one point. So a dangerous storm, leaving some of the damage. You see some of the police vehicles there and those lights that continue to flash there at this point. And we'll get a better vantage point and a view of the damage, of course, when we get some of the light of the day. But right now it's in the dark, just happening. Folks just kind of scrambling around. Looks like a gentleman there with their pet. It looks like their cat. God, you feel for the folks here who are dealing with this damage right now. Carl, this will continue to be a big story here for us because this storm is not done. This is a storm that continues to roll on, and all the ingredients are there. There really doesn't seem to be much that would be in the way to keep this thing from continuing to kind of cycle up and cycle down.
Yeah, we're still seeing a very strong signature in the velocity data right now. We just got a new update from the National Weather Service. Tornado emergency for Midnight and Silver City. If you are in Midnight or Silver City, you need to get to your safe place right now because you've got a large tornado, confirmed large destructive tornado, 7 miles southwest of Midnight, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. And so we've got it coming into Midnight here, probably about the bottom of the hour. So coming up in around 6 to 7 minutes. This is not giving you a lot of time. Moving into Silver City at 8:38 tonight, Belzoni 8:42, and Famosa after that about 8:50 or so. Again, we are still seeing very strong circulation showing up in the radar data. Let's take a look and see if there's any debris. We've still got a debris signature showing up here. So that right there, that tells us that we've got an ongoing tornado. That's the town that was just hit. That right there, that is the debris that is associated with the tornado. That is structural and or tree debris showing up here, and that is coming towards Silver City. You've got just a few moments here, Midnight in just a few minutes, and Silver City a few minutes behind that. Please get to your safe place right now. We'll have more on this coming up. Welcome back to our coverage of severe weather. There is an ongoing tornado emergency in the western part of Mississippi and the Delta region. This is for Humphreys and Sharkey counties going until 9 p.m. We are still now seeing very strong rotation just moments away from midnight. It's going to be coming into midnight here in just a minute or two. You've got to get to your safe place right now in midnight. Also coming towards Silver City in just about 5 minutes or so. Grass Lake beyond that. Tuchula beyond that, 8:54 or so. Again, this is an ongoing tornado emergency, confirmed large and destructive tornado moving towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. And this is a tornado emergency for midnight and for Silver City as well. If you're in either of those towns, you need to get to your safe place right now. Consider that these images are just a few minutes old when they come in, and so the tornado is probably very close to midnight right now. In fact, I'm going to circle this area of strong velocity here, very strong winds moving towards and away from the radar. We are still seeing a debris signature right in there, so that little spot is where the tornado is right there. That is showing us where we've got some irregular shapes being lofted into the air, some of that being scattered to the north here, miles away, so going into the tornado and then being thrown out 4 or 5 miles to the north. And again, this is now moving into midnight in Silver City. There you can see the motion of that tornado. You can follow that as it's been moving along there and moving through these areas. So again, jumping back and taking a look at the velocity signature, we've got now this storm coming into midnight in just a minute or two. It's going to be coming in right now, then moving into Silver City at 8:35. Please get to your safe place immediately. This is as serious as it gets. We just saw major damage being reported in Rolling Fork as the tornado came right over Rolling Fork, and this is now just moments away from midnight in Silver City. And let's take a look at some of the damage from Rolling Fork here. And we have a storm chaser who has been, storm tracker who has been following this storm, and he has just pulled into Rolling Fork, Alex. And, this is exactly what we feared, large tornado moving in rapidly, wrapped in rain at nighttime. It's just as scary a situation as it gets.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there's no good time for severe weather, right? But it's particularly bad when you're talking about being at night when you can't see much at all. We heard from one of our storm trackers earlier that it was wrapped in rain. You just couldn't see much at all. And now you're seeing the result of this tornado that moved on through. And right there in the middle of the screen, you can kind of pick it out there. There's a vehicle that is right on its side. That vehicle is not upright. It is on its side at this point. I'll try to circle that for you. It's right in there. And you can clearly see there is the roof of the vehicle that's there in place, the hood. Then you can see scattered out and about here kind of on the right. Now, it's tough to tell and pick out quite a bit because, again, we are at night and we're only getting a chance to see the illumination from some of the headlights here. But there's clearly some debris showing up here. Looks like there may have been another vehicle right in this area as well. And then back off towards the left of the screen, you can clearly see some of the police vehicle lights that are flashing there that is in place. Again, this was the result of this tornado coming on through Rolling Fork, Mississippi, about, I'd say, 25, close to a half an hour ago. Dangerous tornado moved through, described as a large wedge tornado that was a mile wide at one point by some of the storm trackers there. And there's the damage that we do see that is a result of this here. Just a remarkable thing to see. And unfortunately, people's lives are upended at this point. And we're not done with this storm because this same storm continues to hold on and continues to exhibit signs that it is producing a tornado off towards the north and the east, Carl. And unfortunately, we don't see too much signs of this thing letting up.
No, we don't. Ongoing tornado emergency right now for Humphreys and Sharkey counties. Again, this is in the western part of the state of Mississippi in the Delta region. Cells moving towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. Let's get you the latest on the velocities here. We're still seeing a very strong velocity, and this is now coming towards Silver City. So this is just moments away from Silver City. If you are in Silver City, you've got just a couple of minutes to get to your safe place, lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible. If you've got a helmet that you can throw on your kids, that's also a really good idea. And again, this is a confirmed large and destructive tornado that is coming towards Silver City right now, also moving towards Gum Grove at 8:41, Grass Lake at 8:46, and towards Kruger near the top of the hour. There's also now a downstream tornado warning. Now, this downstream tornado warning is not a continuing tornado emergency, but there is a downstream warning here for Carroll, Holmes, and LaFleur counties. Very dangerous night in Mississippi, and we'll have more on this coming up in just a few minutes.
Storms here this evening here, and a dangerous storm that we've been watching that's actually caused damage and destruction as it moved its way through Mississippi and continues now towards the Silver City area here in Mississippi. And tough to see. Again, this is one of the reasons why we say don't go out try to capture this, because it's going to be hard to see anything outside of any flashes of lightning. You're just not going to be able to see much at all. So this is again in Silver City, Mississippi, where the tornado is getting ready to move on through at this hour. Now, just on off towards the west, you can see where the storms are right now, just north of Yazoo City for the county of Humphreys. But you got Belzoni, Louise, as well as Silver City underneath this tornado warning. There is where the rotation is showing up best right now, north and east of Louise and just south and west of Belzoni, but making its way towards the Silver City area. So certainly if that's an area that you want to make sure you're taking and seeking shelter immediately, because this is a dangerous storm. Let's go back to that shot here to show you, because we did hear that from our storm tracker there, Brett Adair, that as he was watching it and seeing some of the flashes of lightning, that he could see a tornado in front of him. And it's, again, tough to tell outside of being able to get some of those flashes of lightning there where that is. It may be right to kind of the right side. You can kind of pick out a sort of a darker area when the lightning flashes a bit, but it's very, very tough to tell. Carl, can you pick out anything as the lightning flashes?
Yeah, you know, there was one flash there, and I thought I saw the left side of the wedge right around the center of the screen. You know, it certainly did look like that. I mean, this is just as scary as you can possibly imagine, because we've been talking about a large tornado here, one that is most likely wrapped in rain, also moving very quickly, and of course at night when you can't get eyes on it. And this storm ran right into the town of Rolling Fork, Mississippi. You can see there is significant damage there. Our hearts going out to the people of Rolling Fork. A very tough night there, and it is not over yet. We've got an ongoing threat here, an ongoing tornado emergency in effect for Humphreys County. So let's take a look at the radar and show you where this is. Also, by the way, a downstream warning as well, and that is in effect for Carroll and Holmes and LaFleur counties going until 9:30. Latest on the velocity data here. I'm going to move this forward so we can get a look at that. We're still seeing a pronounced area of rotation that is right now, I believe that is over, yes, over Silver City. So that's that 49 west. That's this route right in here, 49 west. And Silver City is right just a little past that bend, I believe. So Silver City is going to be right about in here. So this is coming right over Silver City right now. And then beyond that, we'll move towards Grass Lake, also Marcella, Tachula, and Acona. So in all of those areas, please, folks, this is as serious as it gets. You need to get to your safe place immediately. Don't try to figure out if it's coming your way. You're not going to be able to see it. It's wrapped in rain. It's nighttime. And again, we've got a large and destructive tornado coming through here. Now I'm going to circle this area of strongest velocity, strongest rotation. Let's see, we're still seeing a debris signature, and that is, looks like that, yeah, that's right over Silver City. I am so sorry to say that has come right over Silver City. There's a lot of farmland out here, and we did get a direct hit in Rolling Fork, and right now we are seeing debris in Silver City as well. So it appears that another town is being hit by this tornado right now. That little green area right there is showing us where there are irregular shapes. And so that's the way that we can confirm through radar that there is a tornado on the ground, because the rest of what is showing up there, that red is rain and or hail. The green is what stands out because it is irregular, and that has come right over Silver City. So again, you know, our hearts going out to these people. It's been a terrible night in just this short amount of time here in Mississippi. Now I'm going to jump back and we'll look at the velocity data once again and take this forward and figure out where this thing is going to be headed next. And it's going to be coming towards Tachula and also towards Kruger. as it moves towards the northeast. So it looks like Grass Lake more immediately, and we've got now we have a brand new, they've just upgraded the warning that is downstream to a tornado warning. So this is a tornado warning now in effect for Holmes and Carroll, a tornado emergency now in effect for Holmes and Carroll, LaFleur, and Humphreys counties. Confirmed large and destructive tornado near Belzoni, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. And so it looks like it's going to be coming towards Grass Lake and Tachula and Kruger and also Kona and Coila beyond that. So, Alex, it's so hard to see this because, we can look at this data, we can see on radar, and just from the limited amount of information that we have, we can tell that lives are being irrevocably changed this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting a chance to see some of the damage there in Rolling Fork, taking that now full to show you what's going on there. And again, it can clearly see what's going on here. There's some traffic that's involved and kind of moving along, but also you see the flashes, the police vehicles, those emergency vehicles, those lights are flashing. And then right in the middle of the screen there, that's actually a car. And you can clearly see that is on its side. And just to the side of that, as you work into this general area, there's a lot of debris. Not exactly sure what that is, but it's clearly a debris of some kind. And here, just to the very far edge of the screen there, tough to pick up, that's actually a vehicle. We were able to actually see a vantage point as the camera panned over not too long ago. And honestly, I don't even know what the structure was beforehand, but it is obliterated. It is gone. Just truly breathtaking images here of the damage done here in Rolling Fork. And again, this tornado continues here for us. Tornado emergency pushing on off towards the north and the east. Danger storms we continue to track here across parts of the deep south, including we've got here our shot here from one of our storm trackers, Brandon Clement. He is in and around Yazoo City, Mississippi, and he is moving northbound here. And so his camera is pointed to the north, where you can clearly see a number of flashes that continue. Lots of lightning associated with the storm. And the storm that he is looking at there, that is the tornadic storm that we've been tracking here over the last 45, 50 minutes or so. This storm that moved its way through Rolling Fork, significant damage there. We've heard reports of damage in and around Silver City as well, and the tornado continues to push on off towards the north and the east here for us again. Moving basically right south of Belzoni, heading towards the Tachula area. Kruger, these are some of the areas that are currently under tornado warnings, and it is a tornado emergency that is in place. So it even heightened a tornado warning that's here because, again, this has been observed. We've seen the damage. We've heard of more damage, and unfortunately, we may be talking about more damage as we work our way through this evening as this storm continues to hold together pretty strongly here. So again, right now we're looking at the shot from the vantage point of Yazoo City, which is south of where the tornadic storm is right now. Brandon Clement is headed towards that general area as the storm continues to push on off towards the north and the east. But just vivid lightning here associated with the storm. And one of the other dangers that we continue to deal with here, not just the risk for the tornado, but again, a lot of lightning as well. And again, we had this storm move its way through the Rolling Fork area. And that's an area where we have some of the damage showing up, live damage pictures showing what's going on here. And you can pick out a couple of things. One, right there in the middle of the screen, that's actually a vehicle that is on its side. So clearly the tornado moved through, flip this thing around, now it's on its side. You got the emergency vehicles that are there on the roadway. You can see those flashing lights showing up there. There's been a number of vehicles and traffic kind of moving along here on the road. And then on the far right here, there's an area of debris, and there's even more off towards the right. The camera hasn't gotten a chance to pan over, but we did see a view of it earlier, and plenty more damage to the right of this. And it's almost impossible to even tell what was there before. It has just been like something just exploded. And we saw some folks who were having to be helped out of there earlier as well. So, hearts going out to the folks here in and around the Rolling Fork area, taking basically a direct hit from this tornado, which was at one point described as a large wedge tornado that was a mile wide. Hence the tornado emergency, which again continues, Carl, points on off towards the north and the east. This storm holding together, and really no signs of it really letting up as it gets closer and closer to even the interstate. 55 may be in the path of this storm.
Yeah, we've still got a tornado emergency in effect here. We're still seeing a very strong rotation showing up in this storm. I want to show you a wider view on the radar now to show you where all of this activity is. And by the way, there is a new tornado warning to tell you about also that is into the northern part of the state. There are the tornado emergencies that are ongoing. So this is in the western part of Mississippi, west of Interstate 55. I've got an ongoing warning here for Humphreys County, also the ongoing tornado emergency for Carroll Holmes and LaFleur counties going until 9:30. We're still seeing very strong velocity showing up on the radar, and I'm going to move this just a little bit towards the north here to kind of get in the middle of that. So that appears to be coming towards Tachula, as well as Kruger, Anaconda, Coila, and North Carrollton as well. So in all of those areas, you need to get to your safe place right now. We've had, unfortunately, this storm come right across at least 2 towns. We had Rolling Fork initially, and then Silver City also appears to have been hit directly, and the storm continues to show signs of being very dangerous. Now I'm going to circle this area of strongest velocity. Let's see if there's anything showing up in the correlation coefficient. For at least the time being, we're not seeing any debris showing up. However, that may or may not be instructive. And actually, I'm going to switch the mode here and go to another mode that's a little more sensitive. We are still seeing, you see that yellow dot right in the middle there. So there is definitely still some debris showing up, just not larger debris, but still some smaller debris showing up. And that is going to come very, very close to Tachula. So right in there, that could be our ongoing tornado. In fact, it probably is based on what I'm seeing right here. And it looks like that's going to pass, if not right over Tachula, very close to it. So right over that Route 49E, and maybe on the north side of Tachula. Tachula is kind of an elongated town that runs along this Route 49 here. And so areas north of the center of Tachula in particular along 49E, so getting up towards Peaks Quick Foods and Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church, those areas. If you're anywhere near there, you need to get to your safe place right now. We've got a very dangerous storm coming in. And again, this is an ongoing tornado emergency. We've already had at least a couple of direct hits from a large tornado here as it continues to move through. Again, we're not seeing quite as much signature on the other debris mode here, but we do have now an update. This is the update for the tornado emergency for Tachula. Confirmed large and destructive tornado located near Tachula, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So again, in Tachula, we likely have a tornado now coming in. There's the latest debris signature here, and that is now moving right towards that Route 49. We'll have much more on this dangerous night coming up in just a moment.
Breaking as we continue to track storms across the lower Mississippi Valley. We're watching right now a view from one of our storm trackers. That's Brandon Clement, who is in and around the Tachula area there in Mississippi. And this is an area that is basically in line to deal with a tornadic storm. It's an area that's under a tornado warning, a tornado emergency to be exact, as the tornado warned storm is now just to the north and west. I mean, just slightly to the north and west of the city center, the town center there. But the storm itself continues to exhibit signs of rotation. No doubt about it, a lot of lightning as well, as you can clearly see the number of flashes that continue here as well that are in place. Very breezy times. You can kind of pick out how, I don't want to say debris, but sort of the grass or maybe the trees that are kind of rolling around out there in some of that wind, along with all the flashes of lightning with this very dangerous storm. If you're anywhere here in and around the Tachula area, just to the north, heading just south of the Kruger area, if you're in these areas, you want to make sure you're getting into your safe zone immediately. That's where you want to be. A low floor of a sturdy structure and getting away from the windows. An interior room like a closet or a bathroom is where you want to be, because again, this is a tornado emergency. This storm has had a history of causing many issues and causing significant damage. First in Rolling Fork, and then continuing down the road towards Silver City. In fact, we have some pictures now out of Silver City currently, and that's what you're seeing right there. Again, you can kind of pick out when the flashes of lightning illuminate things, but there is clearly some debris. And so whatever this structure was, hard to tell what it was at this point, but Clearly, it is not upright, and it has been mangled thanks to the tornado that moved right on through this area. So we had essentially a direct hit in Rolling Fork and a direct hit for us here in and around Silver City. You can see some cars that are kind of moving along on a road there back on the towards the back there for us, but in the foreground, there is some damage that is clearly showing up there. And again, very hard to tell what that structure was beforehand, but the clear thing here is that it is not intact right now. Let's work our way towards Rolling Fork. And that was the first area that was impacted by this tornado. And again, you see people kind of milling out and about there. Clearly the damage continuing at this point, showing up there. There's that vehicle that we've been watching since the tornado hit that is on its side there, and then all of this debris showing up here as well. There's actually another car that's right there. That's another vehicle kind of mangled a bit there. There's also debris around that, and it's off the screen, but all the way to the right, if the camera were to be able to pan to the right a bit, there was something there. And I would not be able to tell you what it was because right now it is unrecognizable in terms of what it was. Just showing you the power of the system as it moved on through, basically destroying whatever that structure was. But again, you can see there's a lot of sort of vehicle action that's in place there. We've seen some of the emergency vehicles there on the left side of the screen as well. But again, damage here from this tornado that was in Rolling Fork. At the time, as it was approaching Rolling Fork, we had some of the storm trackers, and the word from them was it was a large wedge tornado that was a mile wide. And this tornado continues off to the east now of Silver City and approaching and getting closer to the Dachula area, or at least towards the north side of the city there, or the town, and just to the south of the area. That's another area that could be impacted there, right along Route 49E. I think we have some pictures now out of Dachula there showing you what's going on. Yeah, there we go. There's Brandon Clement showing us what's going on. You see more lightning flashes there. Looks like in this particular zone, doesn't look like there's much in the way of any damage showing up there. A little wind showing up. You can see the tree whipping around just a tad there. But look, the lights just went out, or there's some flashing. So clearly some areas there are being impacted by this storm. Again, in and around the Dachula area, looks like the power was able to withstand that, but they keep going in and out. And at any moment, that could be gone for sure. So, yeah, this is a dangerous storm as we continue to deal with it here. Moving on through, tornado warning is still in effect here for us for this particular storm. It has been holding together now. We were tracking this at the beginning of the 9 o'clock hour Eastern time, and it is still tornado warned at this point. More visual images coming in from one of our storm trackers. Of course, Charles Peak, always in on these storms, and he is there in Humphreys County, Mississippi. He is driving there, clearly still dealing with quite a bit of rain showing up there as well. Looks like you can kind of pick out some flashes there with the emergency vehicles sort of flashing lights. That are moving just ahead of him there. A lot of lightning associated with the storm that he's on right there as well. And really tough. Again, there's a lot of rain coming on down. So you can imagine trying to pick out and see anything. That's going to be very, very difficult. Not only is it night, but the tornado here would be wrapped in all sorts of heavy, heavy rain. So please, 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 this is not a time to be trying to capture video here. If you're in the path of this storm, we just talked about it here right now. It is Carroll and Holmes County. You've got areas there now. Looks like the best rotation showing up just now, just to the north and east of Dachula. With this tornado, you want to make sure you're getting into your safe zone immediately. Carl, dangerous storm here for us, but there are a number of other storms that we're also tracking as well. A long night ahead.
Yes, indeed. And let's get you the latest on the radar right now. We've got an ongoing couple of tornado warnings and also a very serious severe thunderstorm warning about halfway between Memphis and Nashville. First of all, the latest on this tornado warning for Carroll and Holmes counties. And this cell is moving rapidly towards the northeast right now, moving down and looking at the velocity. We're seeing a strong velocity continuing, and that is coming towards Meeks as well as Acona and Coila beyond that. Also, I want you to notice there's actually another area of rotation that is now passing over Silver City. That is the town that was just hit by this tornado. That's not being warned on right yet, but certainly something that we want to pay attention to here. Here's a look at Silver City, and you know, it's so tragic because when you look at this area of Mississippi in the western part of the state, there's so much farmland. out here, and then you've got some smaller towns, and so tornadoes could very easily just go through farmland and come nowhere near towns. And what happened tonight is we had at least 2 towns that were hit directly by this storm, and now we've got this ongoing threat with these storms as they're moving northeast. So let's jump back to the radar here and show you where this is. And again, we're still seeing some strong rotation showing up near Tachula right now, and that is coming towards Meeks and also moving towards Acona. I'm going to move in and we'll get a look at the correlation coefficient, and so I think that is the tornado that was showing up near Tachula. So Brandon is near, he was just in Tachula where we just saw the lights going out, and he, I believe, is now passing to the north. That's where it was moments ago. And so going to the east here, or forward in time, you can see that there's still some signature showing up. It looks like it has just crossed 49E, and now he is moving to the north, and so he's going to be coming up behind that tornado. So I think this is where the tornado is ongoing here, now east of 49E and near Tachula. Once again, it's going to be getting into a very rural area. Looks like the Morgan Break National Wildlife Refuge. The Rosebank School is along this road. A lot of forest, though. There's a whole lot of forest in this area. And so let's see what happens here in the next few minutes. But in the longer term, the storm is going to come close to Acona and Coila and also Winona. So in all of those areas, you need to be on your guard. And as I mentioned, you've got another area of rotation south of Belzoni, that crossing right over Silver City right now, not being warned on at this time. Let's also take a look at another tornado warning in the northern part of the state. This is Lafayette and Pontotoc and Union counties, and so this is getting towards Tupelo. And we've been watching a little area. You can kind of pick it out right in there. You see that little bit of a C shape right there. That's where the rotation is, and that is moving towards the northeast. So coming towards Bald Hill, as well as New Albany and Baker and Clariesville. Possible tornado coming your way, so heads up on that. Also want to show you a severe thunderstorm warning. This is a warning for 70-mile-per-hour wind. Chester and Hardin and Henderson counties under warning until 9:45. We're seeing some very strong winds showing up in the velocity data. Not only can we see where there are possible tornadoes, but we can see where you've got exceptionally strong straight-line wind. Looking at some of the velocities, that is an outbound velocity of 82 miles per hour. Now that's a couple of thousand feet off the ground, but still, a lot of that velocity can make its way down to the ground. And so this is coming into Lexington right now. Moving towards Parsons. Lexington and Parsons in particular, that's where I'd be very concerned about some really strong wind. Right at the apex of that bow there, that's where the wind tends to be the strongest. Also Bath Springs and Wildersville and all those areas, possibility of 70-mile-per-hour wind. And then another thing you'll notice here is we are seeing some areas where there's a little bit of rotation developing. We'll need to keep our eyes on those spots. Like to the north here, you see just a little bit right in there, and then also a little bit right in there as well. That's not at all uncommon, especially on a day like today when you get so much shear in the atmosphere. Larger picture for you, very strong system now pushing out of the southern plains and into parts of the lower Mississippi Valley. We've got instability fueling these storms. The biggest part of what is driving this tornado threat is that low-level wind shear, where our winds are coming out of the south-southeast at the surface and coming out of the south-southwest at 5,000 feet and a lot more rapidly. In blue there, I've got winds of 50-plus miles per hour, and so right where that is getting together with the instability is where we have the greatest tornado potential. Now later tonight, we're going to watch that strong low-level jet continue to move farther east, more into eastern Mississippi and western parts of Alabama, and so too the threat will migrate, making its way across the Mississippi and Alabama state line, getting into central parts of Alabama. And so looking at the model forecast here, We expect that there's going to be an ongoing threat for tornadic storms going through late tonight. You see where the storms are lined up there from Nashville into Tupelo, coming into Starkville and Columbus, Jackson as well, Hattiesburg into Marion, then towards Birmingham and Huntsville later tonight. Late tonight, there still could be some supercell storms embedded within this line, but it is going to become more linear. And when it becomes more linear, we do tend to see more of a damaging wind threat, but there's still going to be a threat for tornadoes even into the overnight hours tonight, Alex. So a lot going on here tonight, a very dynamic atmosphere, and we've already seen just tragic results of these storms.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there you can see some of the images here of those storms that they've had a big impact. We saw the first shot there, that was in the Rolling Fork area, and here's a shot out of Silver City from Brett Adair, and you can clearly again see some of the damage showing up here. It's tough to see what the structure was, but the stuff that's just strewn all about, and you see some of the flashes of the lights there of the emergency vehicles there in the background. But according to Brett Adair, he mentions here that they're in Silver City, severe destruction, and even reporting here from Brett Adair, numerous entrapments with significant injuries as well. So yeah, this is another shot here out of Silver City, showing you again more of the damage as well. There's a look at it there. Clearly, tree damage, structural damage as well. Is Charles on the phone? Can you hear me, Charles?
Yes, sir.
Charles, can you give us an update here? I know you're just pulling on in about what you saw as you were moving in and what you're seeing now.
I'm just pulling into Silver City, and it looks like here that partial roof taken off of this house. It does look like with emergency personnel, there's many other things here, but I haven't been able to get out to, really assess the situation just yet.
Now, we're looking at the shot right there. It looks like, again, the structure there that was impacted. Is that the one lone structure that is in place there, or are there other areas that are also impacted?
It looks like this is the first place on 49 that I came to. You got power lines down. It looks like there's emergency personnel in all directions from here. So I would say it's much more widespread at this point in time.
And as far as the rain is concerned, I'm assuming that's kind of let up a bit there as the storm has kind of moved off to the east?
It has, but there's more coming. We're sort of in a position of some training cells to come through here.
Well, Charles, again, you've been out there all day today watching how this is all developed. When it looks at this structure, is it one home? Is it a home? It kind of looks like it's a home.
Yeah, it's a home. It looks like the back part of the house and the roof has been taken off. Just beyond that, it looks like another home that definitely has some damage to it. And I'm looking at power lines down, sheet metal on the power lines. And again, that's just what I see at this location.
All right, Charles, well, I know you just got there trying to get a good sense of what's happening out there. We will no doubt check back with you here as we work our way through the rest of this evening there. More issues being felt here across Mississippi. Here we are looking in from Brandon Clement's shot here. He's driving there in and around the Tchula area. That's an area that just seen the storm kind of move just to the north of the city, or at least the town center there. Still watching quite a bit of lightning flashes with the storm that continue to track on through in this general zone. We still continue to deal with a tornado warning that is in place right now as it works its way off towards the east. The most tornadic portion of the storm has pushed north and east of Tchula, but still dealing with some heavy downpours, potentially some gusty winds as well. Carroll, Holmes counties here, you're under this tornado warning until 9:30 at this point. So yeah, dangerous storms continue, and looks like just off towards the west, there's another area of rotation showing up that may be trying to make its way into that general area as well. So yeah, it's a long night. These storms continue to fire and push east and maintain themselves. Maybe not as strong of rotation here, Carl, with the initial storm, but nonetheless, still dealing with some dangerous storms.
Yeah, so we're watching this area right there. That's the tornado-producing storm that came through Silver City and also through Rolling Fork. But now there is actually another area of rotation. We just saw a tornado pass to the north of Tchula right in here, and now there's another area of rotation off to the west, not being warned on right now, but certainly something to watch there in Tchula. We'll have more on that coming up in a moment. Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of a very dangerous night in Mississippi right now. We've got ongoing tornado warnings for Carroll and Holmes County. Observed tornado here. Also a new downstream warning in effect as well. That tornado warning in for Carroll and Montgomery and Webster counties. That does include Winona. Looking at the velocity data, we're seeing a very strong velocity signature now showing up. And that is near Black Hawk right now, and it's going to be moving into Winona probably about 9:35. This is moving rapidly to the northeast. Winona is a town of about 5,000 people. We have already had significant damage from this storm, and it's going to be coming in about 15 minutes. Please do not try to figure out if there's a tornado coming or not, because you're not going to be able to tell. This thing has been wrapped in rain. It's dark, of course, and it's moving very, very quickly. 55 miles per hour highway speeds. It is traveling to the northeast and coming towards Winona right now. And again, we are seeing a strong rotational signature showing up and moving towards the northeast and now coming towards Winona. And so please get to your safe place now in Winona. You've got about 10 to 15 minutes in Winona, and we're talking about what is likely going to be a large and dangerous tornado. You want to get to the lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible. And again, this thing is moving rapidly now towards the northeast at 55 miles per hour, most likely coming into Winona at about 9:35. Also, looking at the debris, we did spot a debris signature. Oh my gosh, there's a new, that is a very well-developed debris signature here that is showing up. And let me go, I'm going to move this a little farther down to the southwest so we can get a sense of how this is moving. This is not very far away at all. And again, moving off to the northeast. So, backing out a little bit so we can track it. And then I'll zoom back in. This is going to be coming right up towards Winona. And in short order, remember these scans are just a little behind in time. It takes a few minutes for this information to get into our computers, and still just a little behind in time. But folks, that is a tornado right there. We're looking at that area of green and blue. That is an ongoing tornado. That's the radar determining that there is debris. There are irregular shapes in the air. And that can be tree debris. Sometimes it's structural debris. We certainly have seen that tonight. So there is a tornado that is ongoing right now. It is coming towards Winona. It's going to be moving in. It is now 22 after the hour. It's going to be coming in 33 minutes after the hour. And so you don't have very much time at all to get ready for this thing. Please, please get to your safe place right now in Winona, because you've got a monstrous storm that is coming your way, a storm that has already produced significant damage in at least 2 towns west and is now moving into Winona, and we are seeing debris. So we've got radar confirmation that there is a tornado now coming in. Please, folks, take this seriously. If you're in Winona, if you're anywhere near Winona, in that Interstate 55 corridor near where 82 intersects with 55, and especially south of there, you need to get ready for this thing right now, because this is as serious as it gets. Now, I want to show you there's also a new tornado warning, and this is for Chula, and this is the very same town where a tornado just passed to the north. We're not seeing anything in the debris, but we are seeing a rotation showing up, basically the very same area where a tornado passed just moments ago, just north of Chula, and that is moving towards Pinchback right now and towards Acona as well. Actually, I'm going to redraw that. Looks like it might be a little more northeast, so towards Adair, I think, and Pinchback right now. That looks to be like, yeah, I think that's about the right vector there. Pinchback and Adair and Black Hawk, and also coming towards Coila as well. If you're in those areas, please take cover immediately. But again, in Winona, that's where our most dangerous storm is right now. Also Lafayette, Pontotoc, and Union counties under warning right now. Looking at the velocity data, seeing a couple of areas, certainly that little dog leg right there is a cause for concern, and that's coming towards New Albany. Just a lot of damaging wind potential as well. Heads up in New Albany and Bald Hill, but some very strong wind right there. That's going to be coming towards Pontotoc. And look at the velocities here. We're talking about, I'm sure, winds of 70 plus, 73 miles per hour inbound. And then to the north of that, we've got a severe warning for Chester, Hardin, and Henderson counties, looking at the possibility of some 70 mile per hour wind here. That is going to be moving towards Linden as that continues towards the east. But our most dangerous storm right now, again, going back to the south, tornado warning in effect for Winona. And there's the latest on the velocity. I'm going to move this forward a little bit and we'll get a sense of where that is. And so we're still seeing a strong rotation here. And actually, let's go ahead and look at the debris once again. So we've got a well-developed debris signature that is now south of Winona and getting ready to move in. Let me back this out a little bit, just in case we're a little bit off in terms of latitude or longitude. Yeah, sorry about that. And this is coming towards Winona right now, and I'm going to zoom back in. This is going to be moving into Winona in short order. That is a tornado right there. If you are in Winona, you need to get to your safe place right now. We'll have much more on this coming up. Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of a very dangerous night here. Now a new tornado emergency to tell you about, and this is in effect for Carroll and also for Montgomery counties. There you see Carroll and Holmes County under warning right now, and then the tornado emergency just to the east of that for Carroll and Montgomery and Webster counties, and that is going until 10:15. This is for Winona. Still very strong rotation showing up in the velocity data, but we are also now seeing a debris signature. So that area right there of the the green and the blue colors, that is where debris is being lofted into the air, and that is radar confirmation of a tornado. And let's get a look at the latest from the Weather Service on this. Confirmed large and destructive tornado near Coila, 9 miles southwest of Winona, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. Now, keep in mind that these radar images are just a couple of minutes old, and so it's probably a little ahead of where it's showing up right there on this trajectory, expected to come into Winona in just a few minutes. You've got to get to your safe place right now. This storm has had a history of producing serious damage in Silver City as well as in Rolling Fork in Mississippi. This is the same storm that has been dropping tornadoes for quite a while now. And again, we are seeing debris showing up on the radar. Going back a couple of frames, you can get a sense of the vector there. This is in largely forested area right now, but it is going to be getting over across that 55 corridor. In Winona is a town of about 5,000 people, sort of vertically oriented like that. And as this thing comes in, could very well be a very serious tornado. And so again, a confirmed large and destructive tornado now moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. If you are in Winona, you need to get to your safe place right now. It's really moving quickly. It's not going to give you time. It's dark. It's rain wrapped most likely. You're not going to be able to get eyes on it. Don't try to figure it out. Just get to the lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible. Again, this is the very same storm that has produced significant damage in other towns in Mississippi, and this is now headed directly for Winona. And that, what is showing up there in the correlation coefficient is basically proof that we've got a tornado that is on the ground right now. That green and blue signature there showing us where there is debris in the air. So you've got just moments now in Winona. You've got maybe 2 minutes, maybe a tad more, not much time at all. Again, remember, these radar images are just a little bit behind. So please, please, folks, get to your safe place right now in Winona. Also, another tornado warning ongoing. And actually, that tornado warning has been dropped. So we've got an area of circulation here, but they've allowed that tornado warning to expire. But just keep in mind that, too, is generally headed in the direction of Winona. Also, ongoing warnings here in the northeast part of the state, Lee and Pontotoc and Union County under warning right now. We've been seeing some very strong winds showing up. That's going to be moving into Tupelo. And so we're looking at initially a wind threat coming into Pontotoc. And that is also going to be moving into Tupelo as well, or certainly just a little to the north, heads up in Cherry Creek, Sherman and Belden and Saltillo. And here you see a live look, and this is now in Vaden in Mississippi, just to the south of Winona. We've got a bunch of trackers that are out. Oh, we've got a brand new scan here. Oh my gosh. So we've got, the storm is now coming into Winona. Let me show you here on the correlation coefficient. And this is, Alex, I don't know how many times we're going to see this tonight, but this is just a heartbreaking thing to see here. We've got a large debris signature coming right into the town of Winona. And that means that this town is now being hit by a tornado, and it's just a heartbreaking, just gives you a sinking feeling to see this. Just a really tough thing to see. We're getting hit by a tornado here.
Yeah, it really is, and you just hope that folks have been watching this. We've been on this same storm, this very same storm, for an hour and a half. It's been kind of cycling up, cycling down, cycling up, cycling down, but it has now hit Rolling Fork, Silver City. Those are at least two towns that were hit by the storm and now moving right into the Winona area. So 3 cities from this one storm that continues to show the signs of a very dangerous and destructive tornado. So you can just hope that people have been paying attention to this and they are now in their safe zone, and they got there a long time ago. You didn't want to wait around for this one. As you mentioned, Carl, it's dark. It's rain wrapped. You're not going to be able to see it, so you just have to get into that place and hunker down and just hope at this point there. So again, Winona impacted now. We're going to continue to watch this storm as it tracks its way now, pushing its way east of Interstate 55. Still showing signs of rotation, still showing signs of a tornado debris signature. Breaking as we continue to follow storms rolling through parts of the lower Mississippi Valley, the deep south. Tornado warned storm. This is a storm that we've been tracking all evening long, really since about 9 o'clock Eastern time. This particular storm has been producing a tornado, and it rolled its way, unfortunately, through a few towns, including the Rolling Forks area, as well as Silver City, and now moving its way through the Winona area. This, again, in Mississippi. This thing has been exhibiting signs of very, very strong rotation, as well as a debris signature over the last, again, hour and a half plus. Still showing that sign as well right now. We kind of looping back and showing you that area. It's the zone. You see the general whole area is in red, but there's that small zone where you get that blue and the green. That's where the tornado is. And so as we zoom ahead, there's the Winona area. East of 55, there is where the tornado is currently. So east of Winona is where the tornado is, continuing to push off towards the north and the east. And it's been moving pretty quickly here. I mean, 50, 55, 60 miles per hour. So highway speed. Not going to be outrunning this thing, and you will not be able to see it either. It is fully engulfed in heavy rain, and it is dark. It's night, right? So you're not going to be able to see much at all. So let's time it out here, show you some of the other areas that may be impacted by this storm and the area where the tornado debris signature is showing up. You got the Minerva area at about 9:40, Lodi at about 9:44, Walthall at 10 o'clock. So we're getting about the 10 o'clock hour in the next 20 minutes or so there, and then moving beyond towards Clarkson at 10:08, Atlanta 10:14. If you're in any of these areas, absolutely want to be getting into your safe zone immediately, because this storm has held together, and in terms of signs of showing it's slowing down, we aren't seeing that. So getting into your safe zone now is where you want to be. Lowest floor of a sturdy structure and away from the windows is where you want to be. A closet, a bathroom, those are all great places that you could be at this point. So if you're in any of those areas, please get into your safe zone. Take this storm very seriously. We've already seen the damage and destruction from it. It's had a history of it in 2 other towns, and now a third one there in Winona. We'll more than likely start to see some of the damage coming in out of that area as that debris signature continues to hold together. There are some of the pictures showing up right now, live video out of the Winona area there from Christopher Jackson, one of the storm trackers on this particular storm. Again, very tough to see outside of flashes of lightning showing up what the night sky looks like. You know, we're in the night. We got some heavy rain that's been coming on down, and that continues right now at this time. And again, that's one warning. That's the most dangerous storm right now. But there are other warnings that we are tracking right now, northern Mississippi and even up now into middle Tennessee, where we're talking about severe thunderstorm warnings, Carl, where some of those damaging wind gusts could be in excess of 70 miles per hour.
Yeah, Alex, you know, it's just been an absolutely heartbreaking night here. We know now of at least 3 towns that have been directly hit by this same storm. We've got an ongoing tornado emergency now for Carroll, Montgomery, and Webster counties. This storm has just come through Winona and continues to move off to the northeast. And so tracking that area of rotation forward, that's going to be moving up into Alva, coming towards Embry as well, towards Walthall and Clarkson, and also towards Manatee. We are still seeing a debris signature, and you notice here, go back a couple of frames, we definitely saw that debris signature coming right across Winona, and again, that is just a heartbreaking sight to see. It looks like it's going to be in a more rural area at least for a little while as it continues off to the northeast. But that is an ongoing tornado there coming towards Lodi as well as Walthall and also moving towards Clarkson. So in all of those areas, please get to your safe place right now. Just a terrible, terrible night here in Mississippi as at least 3 towns have been hit directly by this same storm as it's been coming across the Delta and the central part of the state. Also have another tornado warning to tell you about. This is north of Tupelo, Lee, Prentiss, and Union counties under warning until 10 p.m. So we've been watching a little notch that developed here. Right now there's a damaging wind threat, and then there's also this tornado threat within that. I've got a little notch that has developed, that coming towards Sherman, Saltillo, and also Chapelville, and moving towards Centerville as well. In all of those areas, we've got a threat for damaging wind, and then there is some chance that we've got a tornado here as well. In fact, I'm going to go back a couple of frames. Right in there, you could see where there's a little bit of a notch right there. It's not quite as well defined in the most recent scans here, but there is still a notch there. And so just taking that forward, that coming towards Saltillo, Ellistown more immediately, Saltillo, and then Chapelville and Centerville. So several towns here on the north side of Tupelo being threatened by the storm. Now I want to take you up into Tennessee. We've got an ongoing severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Hickman and Humphreys and Perry counties. And so we're looking at a threat for some damaging wind. I want you to notice where this is relative to Nashville. It's not very far away. Right now a threat for 60 mile per hour wind, but it's moving at 70 miles per hour is the motion on this storm. And so just tracking that forward, this is going to be getting into those western suburbs of Nashville in short order, moving into Only immediately here, Tennessee City, getting up towards Dixon as well, Burns, and also coming towards Boston. Threat for damaging wind, and just heads up there in Nashville, you've got a very serious storm now coming your way. But again, going back to, and it looks like we've got a brand new tornado warning, an extension on the storm. Calhoun and Chickasaw and Monroe counties under warning right now. As again, there is a strong rotation, and this storm just hit the town of Winona. And so tracking that forward, this is going to be coming into Alva, towards Walthall, Clarkson, Manti, and also Beasley as well. Heads up, very dangerous storm now coming your way. We'll have much more on this scary night coming up in a few minutes.
Tracking storms here across the deep south here, and dangerous storms continue to impact us here in the state of Mississippi. On the left side of your screen, you're getting a chance to look in the shot there from Christopher Jackson, one of our storm trackers there in the Winona area in Mississippi. That's an area that presumably has been hit by a tornado here. We've been watching the radar here over the last almost 2 hours and following this same particular storm, which has now hit 3 different areas, unfortunately. Rolling Forks, one town, Silver City, another, and Winona. As Christopher has been driving around, he's noticed a lot of tree damage earlier, or just before we came back from the break. Saw him go around what was either a tree or a power pole, and as you can see him panning around there, you can see there is a tree that is down in this general vicinity. It looks like maybe a home towards the back of the shot there. Tough to tell. Can't see if there's much in the way of damage to that structure there, but no doubt trees down in this area, and he's been noticing a bit more of that here as he's been driving around there in, again, Winona. So there's the full view of this, and as you pan around, clearly right in the middle of the screen, that's the damage to that particular tree. Looks like somebody is walking there to the structure. And again, can't quite tell from this vantage point if there's any damage to that particular structure. I'm assuming that would be a home there. But this is an area that was hit by this storm, and a dangerous storm at that, which continues to remain dangerous at this moment as it's now tracking on off towards the east of 55, Interstate 55, east of Winona right now. And right now it's kind of tracking through a more rural area of Mississippi. But Carl, if it were to hold together, it does have the opportunity to kind of make its way towards maybe potentially some more populated zones.
Yeah, and it's amazing how often we see this. So when you've got a system that is very, very intense like this, you'll often have one cell that manages to stay rotating for a long period of time. This is the very same cell that has now hit 3 towns in western and west central Mississippi, causing significant damage in Rolling Fork. We're also hearing about damage in Silver City, and there you see there's been some damage in Winona as well. Now, there's an ongoing couple of warnings here. Carroll, Montgomery, and Webster counties under warning right now, and then a downstream warning as well for Calhoun and Chickasaw and Monroe counties. We're still seeing a strong rotation showing up that is near Eupora and moving towards the northeast right now. And so it looks like that's going to be, I'm trying to get a good sense of the vector here. Looks like that's going to be passing basically to the northeast, maybe a little south of that. And so on that trajectory, moving towards Embry here in the next couple of minutes. Walthall, about 9:59. Fame at around 10:05. Manti at 10:15. And Houston at 10:24. So this is going to pass well to the north of Starkville and also Oktibbeha County here. Now, we were looking at a debris signature. We saw a debris signature come right through Winona. I'll go back several frames right in there. That is the tornado coming into Winona and moving across Interstate 55, sadly here. Hopefully the damage is not too extensive in Winona. And then you see that the area of debris begins to sort of spread out. And so it may be that the tornado has lifted temporarily. That's pretty typical to see, the cloud kind of spreads out and goes in different directions when the tornado weakens for just a little bit. But certainly that does not mean that we've got no threat here because, again, you've got a very strong area of circulation continuing, and that's going to be moving up towards that 45 corridor as well. So once again, sort of following that through and taking that out to the northeast. Walthall, and I'm going to move this just a little bit to the north. Walthall and also Manti, Clarkson, Beasley, in all of those areas, please get to your safe place. You've got a possible tornado now coming your way. Now up into the northeastern part of the state, Itawamba, Lee, and Prentiss counties under warning for a possible tornado. I'm not seeing as much evidence of a spin here. I am seeing definitely a bow echo right there. You see that backward C shape, and so there's no question there is a damaging wind threat here. Possible that we could see a spin up along the leading edge of this as well. That coming into Saltillo, into Chapelville, also moving into Eggville and Marietta. Then up into Tennessee, a warning here for 60-mile-per-hour wind. This is Hickman, Humphreys, and Perry counties under warning. And we're looking at a strong cell that's about ready to move into Centerville. And notice where this is relative to Nashville. Now, we don't have a downstream warning as of yet. But if one is issued, then that would take it up into the west and southwest suburbs of Nashville. So certainly something to pay attention to there. Got potentially some damaging wind coming towards Nashville. Very vigorous storm now coming through. The only thing that might be helping us out a little bit is that we've got some drier air that's been coming up both from the south and certainly so from the west here. And so, there's not quite as much moisture through a deep layer of the atmosphere as we see. And, that's reflected in the fact that you're not seeing a lot of development to the south there. But to the north, we've still got conditions that are very much favorable for tornadoes. In particular, winds coming out of the south, southeast at the surface, and then our winds coming out of the south, southwest much more rapidly. Those are 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. It's that low level wind shear that gives us this threat for tornadoes. And there you see that put together in the model tornado potential. That is going to be migrating farther east as we go through the night. And so we expect that this tornado potential is also going to continue into parts of northwestern Alabama as well. We'll have much more coming up in just a few minutes.
Still following storms across the deep south here, particularly in the state of Mississippi, where we've been watching a number of storms, including here for us in and around Tupelo. That's what we're looking in right now. And you clearly see some of the flashes of lightning that are showing up at the moment there, kind of in the background. So a lot of lightning associated with these storms, and they have a number of warnings that are in place right now as well, including in Tupelo itself. Tupelo kind of right on the edge of dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning. And then to the north, there are a couple of tornado warnings that are in place. We've got a line of storms that's kind of moving right there along 45 and tracking on off towards the east. So at the very least, heads up and watch for some potentially damaging wind gusts. Could be in excess of 60 miles per hour. And again, the potential is there for a tornado as well. Hence the reason for the tornado warning. Again, just north of the city of Tupelo, does include the Saltillo area as well as Baldwin until about the 10 o'clock hour. So within that whole line that's pushing on through, we're going to be dealing with that risk for some damaging wind gusts and can't rule out a tornado as well. Again, we're looking in on the left. That's the camera out of Tupelo, Mississippi, where you see the flashes of lightning. It has been a constant situation with these storms. Very, very, very electrified storms here for us, along with tornadoes. In fact, we've been watching a storm just to the south of Tupelo, which has been tornado warned for the last, my goodness, 2 hours or so. We were tracking it there in western Mississippi. Now it's pushing its way towards the eastern part of the state. So again, heads up there in Tupelo. Nasty storms are just on off towards your north and west. Try to move on in there. So we time this out just a bit here for us, showing you some of the areas that could be impacted here in time. Marietta at about 10:05, New Site 10:09, heading towards Burton at about 10:15, the Tishomingo area at about 10:21, and then Bloody Springs as we approach 10:30, 10:25 to be a little bit more exact there. So again, nasty storms here with the possibility of some damaging wind gusts, and the potential is there as well for a tornado. Still showing some signs of a bit of rotation with the storm here as it's moving its way on through. So get into your safe zone. You're under a tornado warning for a reason here. Again, the main threat will be the damaging winds along the main line, but within that, we see these areas of rotation showing up. So you want to take that seriously, because at any moment, a tornado could certainly spin up and be very, very impactful, including what we've dealt with there to the south, with the tornado warning that continues there, again, south of Tupelo, where we have that warning in place there. And Carl, this is a storm that has been something that we've been following, a destructive storm for the last 2 hours. We counted now 3 different towns impacted: Rolling Fork, Silver City, and Winona.
Yeah, very sad, because, this tornado came through a largely rural part of western Mississippi and could very easily have just been rolling across farmland, but instead it came into 3 towns directly at least. And we've got an ongoing series of warnings associated with that very same cell. Montgomery, Webster counties under warning right now. Also warning that is downstream for Clay and Webster counties. Another one here just to the north of that for Calhoun, Chickasaw, and Monroe counties. And so we are still seeing a strong area of rotation showing up near Slate Springs right now. And that is moving just about northeast, maybe slightly south of northeast. And so let's take that forward and show you where that's going to be headed, coming into the Fame area, moving towards Manti as well, Montpelier, Macondi, and Okolona, generally moving towards that 45 corridor between, it looks like it's going to be just a little to the south of Tupelo, and then maybe just north of West Point as well, well north of Starkville and MSU. In all of those areas, you need to take cover right now, get to your safe place. This is the same storm that has produced tornadoes. At least 3 towns hit directly by this same cell as it's been rapidly coming across central Mississippi. Also, Itawamba, Prentiss, and Tishomingo counties under warning until 10:45. And so we've got some rotation showing up near Guntown right now. And moving off to the northeast, you see actually that little bit of a notch there. And so that is the area where we could be looking at a possible tornado moving towards Hobo Station, also coming into Burton, Tishomingo, and Bloody Springs. Very quickly, also want to show you there is now a warning for the Nashville metro area, Hickman, Maury, and Williamson counties under warning for the possibility of some damaging wind. This is rapidly moving up and into Nashville, and we're looking at some very strong wind potential here with this storm. Now, there are a lot of people out tonight. It's a Friday night, plenty of people in downtown Nashville. If you know of anybody that's out tonight, let them know. That is a severe storm that is coming for downtown Nashville, entirely capable of producing some very strong straight line wind. And we'll continue to follow this as this moves into the Nashville area. Alex, over to you.
Thanks so much, Carl. Well, we want to bring in now the mayor of Rolling Fork there in Mississippi. We talked about several towns being impacted by this tornado. And the mayor, Eldridge Walker, joining us now on the phone. Mayor, thanks so much for joining us. I know a really busy time there for you. We've heard a number of reports coming in out of Rolling Forks. We just want to get an update from you on what you're hearing.
Right here with
Well, what's happening, everything you've heard is probably true. We've been hit pretty hard here in this community. A lot of damage, a lot of structural damage, a lot of injuries, and right now we're trying to assess the injuries to provide triage to those folks. We got a lot of people who are trapped, but we've got some good folks, the first responders and volunteers who have arrived from outside the community that's assisting us in that endeavor.
Now you mentioned folks who have maybe sustained some injuries there. Is it a widespread situation? Homes, businesses, all of the above?
All of the above, sir. All of the above.
So sorry to hear that, Mayor. My goodness. As the storms were rolling on through, can you kind of walk us through what you were doing and how the storms really kind of moved through the area?
We're going to move. Well, at the time it happened, my wife and I was at home. We were listening to the weather alerts, and by the time we finished listening, and I told my wife, let's get in the bathroom in the tub. By the time we did, that storm hit.
And Mayor, when the storms moved through, how quickly do you estimate they moved through before they were out of there?
Well, it was moving pretty fast, sir. I can only make that judgment by what happened to me at my residence. It came through, it hit, and it kept going. But before it got to my area, it had already done some physical damage in the city of Rolling Fork. So we've got a lot of devastation here, but we're thankful. We've got Red Cross, other volunteers from Washington County Sheriff's Department. We got folk here from Warren County Sheriff's Department and other volunteers. So we're out here trying to assess the damage and, more importantly, to get folks who have been trapped in, get them out, to get them to the hospitals for emergency treatment.
I know it's going to be a very, very long night there, Mayor. Any words that you want to give to folks who may be able to listen there out of Rolling Forks this evening? We may have lost the mayor there. Mayor Eldridge Walker, we appreciate him joining us here. Again, a tough situation that he's dealing with here. I mean, in the midst of this situation, tragic situation of this tornado coming through, you heard him say this is not just an isolated, one or two homes, but you got homes, businesses, all of the above being impacted, as well as injuries, and they're trying to get people to safe areas, to hospitals to treat some of those injuries as well, and people being trapped. Just a terrible situation as we were dealing with this storm coming right through Rolling Forks. That's some of the video from earlier, an area that was received some damage. You can see that car that was flipped over there on its side. A lot of debris as well on the right side of the screen. So that's just one area where the damage was felt there in Rolling Fork. And again, the storm kept going from there. Once it left Rolling Fork, made its way towards the Silver City area. That's another area that sustained quite a bit of damage. And then also in and around the Winona area, that's another spot that also saw this storm move through. So this has been a dangerous storm for the last couple of hours. It continues to remain quite dangerous at this point. We still have tornado warnings in association with this storm. So it has been a long tracking one here for us. And Carl, unfortunately, it continues to be something that we deal with here at this hour, pushing its way now into the eastern part of the state.
Yeah, we've still got ongoing tornado warnings associated with the very same cell that caused all of those problems, hitting at least 3 towns directly in western and west central parts of Mississippi. So let's get right into the warnings here. Montgomery, Webster counties under warning, and then downstream, we've got a warning in effect for Clay and Webster County. Also another warning in effect here for Calhoun, Chickasaw, and Monroe counties going until 10:30. Still seeing some rotation showing up near Manatee right now, so it's sitting right about in that area. I'm going to go back a couple of frames so we can see how this thing has been moving, and looks like it's basically moving to the northeast right now. And so following that forward, Tracking that forward, taking that out towards the northeast, that'll be coming into Manti, coming into Anchor as well, Macondi, and also towards Gibson, and generally moving towards that 45 corridor. So heads up a possible tornado coming your way towards 45 south of Tupelo. Then northeast of Tupelo, another tornado warning in effect for Itawamba, Prentiss, and Tishomingo counties. You see there's a little bit of a swirl that is showing up right there, and that's where the possible tornado could be. And so following that forward, that coming towards Tishomingo, New Site, Burton, Carter Branch, and also into Oldham as that rapidly moves east. Also notice the severe warning in effect for Florence and for Russellville. And then here we've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and that is getting into the Nashville area, moving very rapidly here. Now a warning for 70-mile-per-hour wind as this cell is moving east at 70 miles per hour. It is a Friday night. A lot of people are out, I'm sure, in Nashville, and hopefully they are well aware of what is about to move in. Again, you've got a threat for 70-mile-per-hour wind here, moving in very, very rapidly. And so following this through, this is going to come into White Bluff in the next few minutes here. Fairview at 10:16, Boston 10:21, and around 10:35 is when it's going to come into Nashville. So we're about 25 minutes away from potentially 70-mile-per-hour winds coming into Nashville. If you know of anybody who is out and about in Nashville tonight, please, please let them know that they've got a severe storm on the way, and not just any severe storm, but a high-end straight-line wind threat. Alex, this is very worrisome indeed, you know, considering it is now, what, just 10:10 at night, and I'm sure, you know, very busy on a Friday night in Nashville, and you've got a really serious storm now coming in.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, just one of the areas being impacted by all these storms this evening. I want to get to the mayor out of Anguilla, Mississippi. We've been talking about a number of towns that have been hit by the tornado that we continue to watch and follow here in Mississippi. We have the mayor, Larry Bradford, on the phone with us. Thanks so much for joining us, Mayor. I know the storm is very fresh and you're in the midst of this, but we appreciate you updating everyone on the situation there. Can you tell us how the city has fared now as this storm moved through?
Well, the storm, Rolling Fork, where Mayor Butch Walker and Councilman Stewart, who's also on the phone, they took the direct hit. Anguilla, we just suffered severe wind, storm, and hail damage there. But pretty much we haven't got any calls for anyone being hurt, any casualties or anything like that. We've rode around and looked at the town, and, you know, other than power outages and things of that nature, everything seems fine. So we're directing everybody to try to get to Rolling Fork to help out and do whatever we can there. So people grabbing chainsaws and everything and flashlights trying to come help out. But Councilman Stewart can give you more insight.
Wow, it's good to hear that, as you've heard from folks, that not a whole lot of damage there, at least from your vantage point there in the Anguilla itself. And you mentioned you're having folks there from Anguilla kind of transport back down towards the Rolling Forks area to help out. Is that correct? Did I hear you right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
absolutely.
That's good to hear.
We have a local tree guy who does trees and cuts and all that stuff. He's bringing his trucks in. He's bringing all three of his trucks in, and so some other guys from our community, we're going down to help out.
Now, you mentioned the fact that no injuries there in Anguilla. Of the damage that you have heard of there in Anguilla, what can you tell us about that?
Well, everything seems fine. Anguilla, we took a direct hit a little bit less, maybe not even quite a month ago, where it totally wiped out an entire community. And so we still have families who are still displaced. They're still living in hotels there. And our area, our county, it's a rural area, so there's not a lot of room and board there. And so and most of the room and board is not all is in Rolling Fork. So with Rolling Fork taking a hit as severe as it took, is really, 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 really put the county and the people, it's not a good situation. So we got to try to figure it out. So we need a lot of prayer.
Absolutely.
A lot of prayer and resources.
Absolutely. Mayor Larry Bradford there out of Anguilla, Mississippi. We appreciate you joining us there. And you heard from the mayor there. It is a tough situation. I mean, imagine just being hit there in Anguilla just a month or so ago. People still displaced from that event. And now having this new storm come in, I'm sure it was a very, very scary scenario here, having another potential tornado come through. Thankfully, at least in Anguilla, didn't sustain a direct hit there. But in the area where the folks from Anguilla were displaced from the last time, they're in around the Rolling Forks area, and they took a direct hit. So it is really, really tough, and certainly our hearts and our prayers go out to the folks there in Mississippi.
Welcome back. You are looking at a live camera of downtown Nashville. That is Broadway Street, and as you'd expect, it is hopping on a Friday night, and we can only hope that all of these people are aware of what is coming their way. There is now a severe thunderstorm warning in effect with a considerable threat tag for the possibility of 70-mile-per-hour wind. And so this is not your ordinary thunderstorm. This is a serious wind threat that is now approaching, and it's moving in very, very rapidly, moving at 70 miles per hour and towards the northeast. And so tracking that forward, looking at the leading edge of this storm here, let's follow this and see where it's going to be headed and how quickly it'll come into Nashville. Looks like it's going to be moving into Nashville in 15 minutes. And, you know, again, there's a lot of activity out there tonight, and hopefully everybody is well aware of what is on the way here, because this is a serious storm. When you're talking about 70-mile-per-hour wind, you're talking about easily enough wind to bring down some tree limbs and some power lines, maybe cause some minor structural damage as well. It is not going to be pretty as this moves into Nashville. So if you know of anybody who happens to be out and about tonight, please let them know that there's a really serious storm on the way. Larger picture for you right now, we've got still some ongoing tornado warnings associated with the cell that has produced damage in at least 3 towns tonight in Mississippi. Clay and Webster County under warning right now. Also a warning to the north for Chickasaw and Monroe counties. Looking at the velocity data right now, it's not quite as well defined as it's been. I'm going to go back several frames here, and so you can clearly see circulation right in there. And we follow that forward up towards Manti, and it's not as well defined as it's been. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and track it out, because the storm has caused so many problems, and that's going to be coming into the Sparta area, also moving towards Gibson as well, coming towards McCondy. So a possible tornado coming your way, but the storm is not as well defined as it has been. To the north, though, there is an ongoing tornado warning in effect here in northeastern Mississippi, and now a downstream warning. This is Prentiss and Tishomingo under warning, and now a downstream warning for Colbert and Lauderdale counties going until 11 p.m. And so the area that we're watching is this little swirl that has developed right in there, and that is now moving towards the northeast. So following that, that coming into Carter Branch, moving into Cherokee, moving into Florence, and also into Killen as well. In all of those areas, a possible tornado now coming your way. And then to the north, as I mentioned, you've got this serious storm now moving towards the Nashville area, and a threat for 70-mile-per-hour wind along with that. Looking at some of the ingredients here tonight, we've got some drier air to the south indicated by that orange coloring, and that's why we're seeing less of a threat farther to the south right now. We do have instability in place where these storms are going, but I want you to notice what happens with the trends here. Now here we see where you've got very strong winds at about 5,000 feet in blue, coming out of a different direction relative to the surface wind, and where that intersects with the instability is where you've got that tornado threat. Now, as we follow this deeper into the night, we're going to watch those very strong winds at 5,000 feet start to move over into North Georgia. But notice that they begin to get away from this area where we've got the instability, where we've got the fuel. You still have some here in Alabama, but you don't see as much of that in northwest Georgia. That's important, because when we combine all those factors, that instability along with the low-level wind shear, what we see is a lessening threat as we go deeper through the night. Still a very serious threat in Mississippi and Alabama, but a lessening threat deeper into the night as it gets over into southeastern parts of Alabama and also into northwest Georgia. So, Alex, at least we can, know that we're not going to be looking at an all-night level of a high-end tornado threat, but there will be an ongoing threat for some strong storms through the night tonight, certainly a damaging wind threat, and we may yet see additional tornado warnings, particularly in parts of Mississippi and northwest Alabama.
Yeah, so a long night ahead here for us, no doubt about it, pushing its way from eastern Mississippi, northern Alabama, middle Tennessee as well, and we'll be watching the threat for storms continue even beyond that for the early morning hours, pushing east, getting into parts of Georgia. Heads up there as we work our way on into tomorrow. We've got that risk for some stronger storms. It looks like from the ATL working southbound here into northern Florida, parts of South Carolina as well. Tomorrow's risk now may not be as a bigger risk as we saw today, but there's still going to be the risk for some stronger storms. So let's follow this now as we work into the early morning hours. Now, this is 4 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So that line of storms now pushing its way through the Birmingham area and then heading east from there. Looks like very early, I'd say 6, 7, 8 o'clock around the ATL, making about 9 o'clock or so, working back down towards Dothan. And then we'll watch how things progress as we head into the afternoon. Southern portions of Georgia into northern Florida now. That risk for the storms for the afternoon, getting around Panama City, Tallahassee, 3, 4 o'clock, you could be dealing with some of those storms. The biggest threat going to be some of those damaging wind gusts that we could see. And then we'll notice by the time we get into our Saturday night, much calmer out there across a lot of the south and the east. But we're not done as we head through the weekend. The chance for more rain and storms rolls in.
Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of severe weather. You're looking at a live picture of downtown Nashville. This is Broadway. A lot of people out on a Friday night, as you'd expect. And there has now been a severe thunderstorm warning issued for Nashville and surrounding areas, a considerable threat tag for the threat of 70-mile-per-hour wind. That is what we are seeing on the radar, and this is going to be moving in very quickly, moving now at about 60 miles per hour. And so following this on the radar, this is now going to be coming towards Nashville, as I mentioned, just a few minutes here. Let's follow this forward. It's coming on into the Franklin area, as well as towards downtown Nashville. Moving into Nashville, probably about 10 minutes or so, now moving at 60 miles per hour. But what I want to show you are these velocities. And so we are seeing here in that blue color, now near Fairview and just southwest of Nashville. Look at that. That's an inbound velocity of 74 miles per hour. Now, sometimes when you see that, if it's a long way from the radar, it's higher up in the cloud, and so you're not seeing all of that velocity make its way to the ground. But in this case, we're not very far away from the radar site. You can see where the radar is. We're now only about 30 miles away from the radar site. So that's just a couple of thousand feet off the ground. That is coming for downtown Nashville right now, and it's going to be moving in rapidly. And again, now moving to the northeast at about 60 miles per hour. So the leading edge of that strongest wind, Alex, it looks like that's going to be coming into Nashville probably about 10 to 15 minutes or so, somewhere in that vicinity. Now, I do think that most people are going to be getting the warning on their phones. I mean, I think that's how it works pretty much anymore. So hopefully everybody's able to, duck into the bars for a little bit. But this is a really serious storm that's now coming in.
Yeah, you always fear, right? A late evening, a Friday evening, folks are heading out there, Nashville, hopping town, right? But you got big storms that are coming on through, and so you certainly got to be mindful of that. So as you said, hopefully folks are getting that warning and at least getting inside and out of the elements here as that whole area races its way through the downtown area here before long. I'm sure this shot that we're looking at there is going to look a lot different than what it looks like right now. Yes, it's wet now, but we could be looking at the winds getting quite strong here as that whole area begins to push its way on through there. So that's what we're looking at there across the middle parts of Tennessee. But of course, we've been tracking the storms back down into Mississippi. Unfortunately, we've seen storms come through, tornadoes, at least one tornado here that moved its way into a few towns, including around the Winona area. And we're looking at on some of the video from Christopher Jackson, one of the storm trackers there. And in this particular view, you see the tree that is down there. There's also a structure, looks like a home in the background. Hard from this vantage point to see if that home sustained much in the way of damage, but nonetheless, you can clearly see trees down there. Hopefully, no trees were impacting that home there, but it's an area that certainly was impacted. We're still finding ourselves seeing some impacts there in and around the city. In fact, we do have a flash flood warning that is in effect for us right now. That's for parts of Carroll, Montgomery, and Webster counties. That does include Winona until 12:15. This is an area that not only had the tornado move through, but also quite a bit of rain, heavy rainfall being estimated by the radar in the order of 3 to 3.5, 3.6 inches being estimated by the radar over the last 3 hours. So that's about an inch per hour being estimated there. And we're still finding some rain coming through right now. Some heavy downpours now have pushed just east Winona, but still some pretty heavy rains that are in place. So a number of risks that we've been facing here from these storms tonight, not just the tornadic activity, but the heavy rain leading to flash flooding. If you have to be heading out there this evening and tonight and you see water on the roads, please, 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 please turn around, find another route to take. It's just not worth it going through that water. You don't know how deep that water is. And the water could have compromised the roadway, could be washed out, and you don't want to get stuck in that. And again, we're still talking about some damage around the area, a number of spots there around Winona, according to our storm tracker there, trees down. So just traveling through that mess is just that, a mess. So again, causing some issues there with these storms, still finding some of the flash flood warnings there in place, and still a number of other warnings off towards the north and the east from there. Severe thunderstorm warning here for us. That does include Amory back over towards the Aberdeen area. That's for parts of Chickasaw, Itawamba, and Monroe counties. Again, we're still in the state of Mississippi, kind of in that east part of the state until 11:15. Notice the tag on that particular storm says tornado possible. So yeah, right now the biggest threat's going to be damaging winds, but watching for some signs of rotation, and that could certainly spin up at any moment and at any point. So getting into your safe zone is where you want to be. Biggest threat would be some of those damaging wind gusts, but a tornado could certainly spin up there. Dangerous night still continuing here for us, again, across Mississippi, up into Tennessee, and we'll eventually be watching some of these storms pushing on into Alabama, where we actually are dealing with a tornado watch at this hour. Like it was a ace.
Welcome back. We are following severe weather right now coming into parts of the central part of Tennessee. This is a live look at Nashville right now, and this is Broadway. It's obviously very busy on a Friday night. We're seeing less people on the street than we saw just moments ago. Not surprising, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. I think a lot of people, probably most people, get that warning on their phones, but this thing is a fierce storm that is now about ready to blast into downtown Nashville. Davidson, Rutherford, and Williamson counties under warning until 11 p.m. Looking at the radar here, that is now coming into that 65 corridor, moving rapidly towards Nashville and coming towards Franklin as well. And so that the leading edge of those storms will be coming into Nashville in just a few minutes here. But as we look at the velocity data, we're seeing that the stronger wind is still a few minutes away. And it's really, really strong. I mean, the radar site is right here, so this is not very far off the ground. And we can look at some of the velocities showing up right in there. That's a 65 mile per hour inbound velocity. That is about ready to sweep across Nashville, particularly the south and west side of Nashville. There you see some lightning showing up in the cam there. And so hopefully everybody is able to duck inside as this comes through. A serious storm now moving through this area. I want to show you the larger picture, and we've got some ongoing warnings to talk about. The very same cell that has caused so many problems tonight, once again under warning for a possible tornado. This cell producing tornadoes in at least 3 towns. And you see the little notch that has developed at Chickasaw, Itawamba, and Monroe counties under warning until 11:15. Once again, we're seeing an area of stronger circulation right there as it's coming towards the radar and moving towards Amory. And so heads up here that a possible tornado coming your way. That is going to be moving into Amory about 10:55 or so. I'm going to move this just a little farther to the south, coming into Amory about 10:55 or points to the south of that. Quincy at 11 o'clock or so, Parham at 11:04, and Sipsey Fork at 11:08. Let's see if there's any evidence of debris at this time. I'm not seeing anything that is clear cut, although there is a little spot right there. And I'm going to get in a little tighter and see if we can decipher this and get a better sense of what's going on here. That's a pretty strong area of rotation that's showing up. So, again, kind of circling the center of that. And we'll look, and maybe just a frame ago, that might have been something along 245 there, but it's not conclusive. I would not say that it's conclusive. Nonetheless, a dangerous storm now moving through this area and coming towards Amory. And again, this is the same cell that caused so many problems earlier this evening and hit 3 separate towns. So that moving into Amory, or maybe a little south of Amory. 1055 coming into Parham at 1104. Possible tornado coming your way. A very strong storm moving up through this area. Also, another tornado warning to tell you about in northeastern Alabama. That for Colbert and Lauderdale counties. We're watching that little dog leg right there. That is going to be moving towards the Florence area as that continues off to the northeast, and possible tornado into Florence, St. Florian, Killen, and also St. Joseph. Alex?
Hi, thanks, Carl. Well, we want to bring in our very own storm tracker, Charles Peak. He's been driving around now. He's in Silver City, Mississippi. Charles, we're looking at the pictures. Unfortunate that what we're seeing here, it looks like a lot of damage. What are we looking at there, and what else can you tell us about the scene there in Silver City?
Yeah, Alex, it is devastating here. The sad news out of here, I just talked to Chief Deputy Grayson with the Humphreys Sheriff Department, and he could confirm for me that there's 3 known fatalities at this point in time and 14 critical. He said that was as of an hour ago. It's a very active scene still right now, search and rescue going door to door. I was back in some of the houses earlier, and literally they don't have enough. There's the fire department that's here. One of the firemen said they only have 20 people on their fire department, counting volunteers. But a lot of the community was here helping. They were having to knock down walls to get people out. Walked by one man who was still buried under rubble as they were trying to get him out. And just a tragic scene here. And, just one of those situations. Even many storm chasers that I saw here were putting their cameras down and helping get people out and carry people out. Do what they could to help here. But just, I know there's multiple cities that have been hit tonight, but not a good situation for sure here.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at this damage. I can't even tell what I'm looking at. What was that structure?
That is a house. I'm literally in the driveway of this house, and, it's a wood-type built house, but you can see it's, just almost totally gone. And there was a lot of these homes here, brick homes, where they had brick walls collapse on top of people and those types of situations. And needless to say, many of the residents out here, family members, distraught, just dealing with this situation that's ongoing. Just heartbreaking right now, Alex.
Yeah. I mean,
this afternoon everything was fine here, and now it's the northeast part of the town. I would say I'm going to estimate. Of course, power's out as you're walking around, but about 30 homes probably damaged or destroyed.
Wow. I mean, just an unbelievable situation there. Charles, thanks so much for that. We'll no doubt be checking back with you there, but just another city impacted by this.
Welcome back to our coverage of this very dangerous night. We are now looking at a new tornado warning here in northeast Mississippi and a tornado headed towards Amory. Chickasaw, Itawamba, Monroe counties under warning right now. And you can see very well that well-defined area of spin showing up that is now just southwest of Amory. Right in there, there is actually debris right now. That is a debris ball right there, and that is now headed towards Amory. I'm going to go back a couple of frames so we can get a good sense of the vector. It actually moved a little to the north for a moment, but now appears to be back on a northeast track and is headed right for Amory and is going to be moving in short order here. If you're in Amory, you need to get to your safe place right now. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and we'll get a look at where this is headed. So this is now just past the Route 45 corridor here. That area, and we've got now a tornado emergency being issued. That right there is the debris ball, and it is coming right for Amory. If you're in Amory, you've got just a few moments here. It is now 10:50 Central Time. You've got 5 minutes before this moves in. That is a tornado. That blue ball right there, that is the debris that is showing up along 45, and that is coming right for Amory. You've got 5 minutes now. Please do not wait. Get to the lowest, most interior room. As many walls between you and the outside as is possible. There's a new tornado emergency that has just been issued for New Wren. It's now crossing New Wren and also for Amory. Confirmed large destructive tornado now moving northeast at 65 miles per hour. Actually, I need to change the motion on this because I've been using 55 for a while now because the storms have been moving at about 55 miles per hour. So we need to speed this up, and I'm going to redo it, move out just a little bit. Now moving at 65 miles per hour, and so that's giving you even less time there in Amory. We've got a brand new scan, and so this is going to be coming in just a couple of minutes here. 10:54 is when we expect this to move in, and this is now just off to the west of Amory. So that dark blue ball there, that is a tornado, and a confirmed large and destructive tornado now coming into Amory. Please, folks, this is the very same storm that has already hit 3 towns in Mississippi and now looks to be coming right into downtown Amory. You've got no time to waste. You're down to maybe 2 minutes now. You need to get to the lowest, most interior room in your house. If you've got a helmet, that's a great idea. Hopefully, folks are taking cover immediately here in Amory. This is, and we've seen this so many times tonight, this is as serious as it gets. You've got a large and destructive tornado rapidly now coming into Amory. So it's just about ready to come into Route 278. Here is Route 278 right in here. And then you've got Route 25 to the south of town. It looks like to me this tornado is going to come right into downtown Amory. And, you know, it's just heartbreaking to see. We have seen this so many times. At least 3 towns have been hit directly by this very same parent storm. And now yet another tornado has developed, and this is coming into Amory. This scan of the debris here is now at least a couple of minutes old, so it's probably moving into Amory right now. And hopefully anybody who is able to hear this broadcast in Amory has gotten into their safe place. You know, Alex, I just cannot believe that we're going through this once again. You know, so many towns have been hit directly by tornadoes tonight, and there you've got a very well-developed debris ball, an obviously large tornado now moving in. In fact, let's go ahead and see if we can get a sense of just how, I mean, look at that. I mean, this is, you know, probably that debris ball alone is probably about a mile wide. And that is coming into Amory. We'll get a new scan any moment here, but Alex, just a heartbreaking thing to see. We've seen so many of these tornadoes during this tonight.
And Carl, just so folks know, this is the same storm that we've been watching all night long. This is the same one that we saw come into basically western Mississippi, moved its way into the Rolling Forks area, caused damage there, severe damage there, then moved towards Silver City and caused damage there, and also in the Winona area. Then it kind of spun down a bit, but you see it spun right back up and now is approaching the Amory area. We have a tornado warning here. Again, observed here for us, as clear as day from all vantage points here for us, from the velocity image to the correlation coefficient where we get a chance to see the debris showing up. This is clearly a tornado. Amory, please, 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 please get into your safe zone immediately. This is not a situation where you want to be trying to get out there and look for it and see if it's coming. No, treat it as if it is on its way, because it is doing just that. See the timing of that, basically Amory right around now, Hatley at about the 10:59 time, and then Smithville at about 11:03. Heads up there. Turon at 11:07. These are some cities that are in line to deal with this storm here as we head through the next several minutes. If you are in these areas and you can hear me right now, or if you know anyone in these areas, call them, text them, and say, hey, get into your safe zone because we have a very dangerous tornado that is now getting ready to close in on Amory and as well as Smithville. Again, observed tornado now. This is the same storm we've been tracking here for the last several hours.
Welcome back. We are following a very dangerous situation right now in parts of eastern Mississippi. There is now a tornado emergency in effect that is for Itawamba and Monroe counties. So this is northeast Mississippi, southeast of Tupelo, getting towards the Alabama state line. A tornado rapidly moving, just came through Amory, now coming up into Smithville, and we are seeing a debris signature showing up with the storm here. That right there, that area of dark blue and also green is the debris. That is the tornado. Just came through Amory, as you can see, passed right through Amory, and now appears to be running up to Smithville. And this thing is moving very rapidly at 70 miles per hour. So it is going to be coming into Smithville in just a couple of minutes. You've got just a minute or two to get to your safe place there in Smithville and also in Turon. That is an ongoing large and destructive tornado. Again, a tornado emergency now in effect here for Amory and for Smithville. This is moving away from the northeast side of Amory and coming into Smithville, moving northeast now at 65 miles per hour. Please take cover immediately there. This is along that Route 25, and again, it is now between Amory and Smithville. Looks like it's around 25 and towards Mount Zion Road, at least as of this latest scan. They're just a couple of minutes behind, so it's probably getting really close to moving into Smithville right now. And as we have seen so many times tonight, a very serious storm coming right into populated areas. This is the same parent storm, by the way, that struck at least 3 other towns, and we've heard of significant damage and injuries as well in towns in the Mississippi Delta. This is the very same parent storm, and just hitting Amory, Mississippi, coming into Smithville and Turon. If you're in either of those towns, please get to your safe place right now. You've got a minute or two before this comes in. You want to get to the lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible. A very dangerous storm now coming up and into Smithville. And again, what we're looking at there in the blue is that tornado debris signature. Just an awful night here across parts of Mississippi. We've also got another tornado warning to tell you about. A downstream tornado warning has been issued for Marion County, and so if we follow this out, we can just track it forward here. I'm going to go into the velocity mode, and so we can see where this very strong swirl is right now. Just a very intense area of spin, and that is moving to the northeast. And so following that forward, we'll see who else is downstream relative to that spin. So again, coming towards the Turon area, and then also Bear. Let me make sure that we've got that. Actually, it's a little more northeast than that. So I'm gonna redraw this to make sure that we've got the right vector on it. Looks like it might be something about like that. Yeah, I think that's about right. So that'll be coming into Turon at 11:04, Academy at 11:10, Bexar at 11:15, and Scottsville at 11:19. In all of those areas, get ready. You need to get to your safe place now because you've got an extremely dangerous storm that is ongoing now. A tornado has just hit Amory, is now moving into Smithville, and it's taking aim on these other towns across the Alabama state line and into western parts of Alabama. Also, another tornado warning to tell you about, and that is here in northern Alabama, Lauderdale and Lawrence and Limestone counties under warning right now. So we're looking at that swirl, and that is moving off to the northeast. So on that trajectory, coming towards Rogersville, Aqua Vista, Big Oak, Lester, and also into Elkmont as well. Then to the north of that, storms coming into the Nashville area right now. Ongoing severe warning for Davidson and Rutherford and Wilson counties. Considerable threat tag along with this storm. And that is going to be moving into Lebanon and also coming into Murfreesboro in the next few minutes here. Very serious damaging wind threat along with these storms. Looks like we've got some bad data here. We'll get back to that coming up in just a few minutes. But again, our main concern right now, tornado emergency for Itawamba and also Monroe counties, as we've got an ongoing tornado has just come through Amory, now moving into Smithville as well. Once again, looking at the debris signature here, looks like this tornado is going to be passing along the south side of Smithville and has just come across that Route 25 there, came right into Amory, the north and west side of Amory, now coming into the south side of Smithville, and will continue off towards the northeast beyond that, coming very, very close to, if not into, the Turon area. And once again, expanding the view out a little bit so we can see who else is going to potentially be affected by this. It's going to come into Alabama pretty quickly, now moving northeast. And so following that, that's going to take it into Turon, into Bexar, and also into Weston as well. And all of those areas, be prepared here. You've got a very, very dangerous storm on the way coming for those towns. And we've got a tornado that is ongoing in these areas. Alex, it's just unbelievable. I can't honestly remember the last time we saw not just, so many debris signatures, but debris signatures actually coming into towns.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing to have it rolling over the open fields, but we've seen them go through towns, and we're counting them now. We're up to 4. First it was Rolling Fork, then we had Silver City, Winona, and now Amory, and potentially there around the Smithville area, particularly the south side of Smithville with this storm. The same storm. This is not several storms. This is the same storm and cell that we've been watching since the western part of Mississippi. We've seen the damage coming out of this storm as well. Rolling Fork, we just some of the images coming out of there, and just truly just devastating what's going on there. In fact, we were talking to the mayor out of Rolling Fork, talking about just some of the damage that he has seen. We talked to the mayor out of Anguilla, which is not too far from Rolling Fork, who's saying he was actually hearing that folks from Anguilla are now going over towards Rolling Fork to help them out because the situation is so terrible there. So again, it's been just a horrible night here for us across parts of Mississippi. We've got another area on Charles Peak. He's been out there looking at some of the damage as well, I believe in the Silver City area. That's another town that was hit by this storm. Charles, we bring you back in. What are you seeing as you've been kind of searching around that general area?
Oh, Alex, the devastation is just terrible. This big tree is laying on top of a road. That road is the one they need to get back to, and so they're trying to clear it. The fire department, first rescues, I was back behind here. There's multiple homes that are severely damaged back in this area. They were literally having to use jackhammers, jaws of life, sledgehammers to knock down walls and get people out. Unfortunately, the chief deputy with the sheriff's department's already confirmed 3 fatalities. They were back in this area here that I'm walking in. Just a terrible situation. I just talked to the emergency manager. They're still trying to assess things as far as how many people are displaced. It's just such a fluid situation right at this time, just with all the widespread destruction. And it just breaks my heart to see this and to know that other communities are dealing with it as well, Alex.
Yeah, that's it. This is one community of many, unfortunately, having to deal with this storm that moved on through. And you were looking at some of the images here that you're shooting there, Charles, and you get a lot of tree damage, some structural damage as well. When we talk about some of the structures that were damaged, are we talking well-built structures? The home there looks like in front of you looks like it would be a fairly well-built home.
Yeah, it's a well-built home, and from what I can see here, the roof has been completely taken off. You can see, I'll scoot up there, you can see that huge tree that's on top of it. Back in here, there's quite a few brick homes with, partial walls that collapsed on people, and that's what they were having to try to move that kind of stuff out. It's just a terrible situation here for sure.
And Charles, I know you got a chance to briefly talk to some of the emergency management folks there. Are we still talking about rescues taking place at this hour?
Yes, sir. What they're trying to do right now is because they didn't have enough help back here, and so the fire department that works this area only has 20 people, and so a lot of the community showed up and was helping carry people out and just yeoman's work here. But now what they're trying to do is get all those people out of the area so that they can start going, from house to house, listening to the debris piles and see if they have any other people out in here. So that's what's happening at this point in time. Needless to say, their hope is they don't find anybody else. But, I was on one situation earlier where, there was a gentleman that was completely buried under the rubble, and all you could see was the top of his head. So, that's the kind of situation they're having to deal with right now.
And I imagine, you're in the dark of the night, the power situation. I can't imagine there's much in the way of power.
No, the power's out. Whatever power you have is where they're bringing in light stands and flashlights. And earlier, it was just literally, the fire department and other people with flashlights trying to get around.
Wow. Well, Charles, thanks so much for providing us with the images and, of course, the updates there. Again, one of the many towns impacted by a tornado, Silver City, Mississippi. You're going to look at some of the damage showing up there. Another community impacted is in the Sidon area, Sidon, Mississippi. That's another town in a city that was impacted by the storms. Here we are looking in from just moments ago, looking at, it looks like a semi-truck there. Looks like clearly some damage to the front of that. Look at that one there. That's turned over. So it was taken away from the road itself, flipped and turned over to the area there in the grassy zone, thanks to presumably the strong winds associated with the storms that moved through. It's a shot there from our storm trackers, Brandon Clement, and just goes to show you some of the power of these winds that can come with these storms. Semi-truck, at least the bed of that, they're being taken across the road and into a field. Just amazing. So again, another town impacted by these storms, this particular storm, and we continue to see in the background there just a number of emergency vehicles and their lights that are flashing there. Got some tree damage as well from the storms that moved on through. And this storm continues to cause and wreak havoc as it's moving its way now through the eastern part of the state. We still have a tornado emergency that is in place here for us. Now the storm itself, in terms of the rotation, has shifted just to the north and east of Smithville. Carl, any thing that kind of stands out with this storm right now? It still shows some pretty significant rotation.
Yeah, it certainly does. We're seeing less of a debris signature right now, and so maybe that means that the tornado is beginning to lift. There is an ongoing tornado emergency in effect for Itawamba and Monroe counties. Also, we've got a downstream tornado warning in effect for Marion County in Alabama. Looking at the rotation, still a very strong area of rotation that is about ready to cross Interstate 22. You see the motion there appears to be pretty solidly to the northeast. And so let's track that forward and see where that's going to be headed. Looks like that's going to come up into the Bexar area as well as Scottsville, also into Hodges and coming into Hackleburg as well. So in any of those areas, this is a storm that has just produced a tornado in Amory and also in Smithville. Please take this very seriously. Get to your lowest, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as is possible, as you've got a very dangerous storm now coming your way. Now, looking at the debris, again, we're not seeing the obvious debris signature that we saw that came through Amory. So right there, you see it moving up from 45, coming into, I'm going to move this a little higher here, coming right into Amory. Right there, I mean, that's just a heartbreaking thing to see. And we've seen that so many times tonight already. And this is the fourth town that has been directly hit by the same storm, not the same tornado, but the same parent storm producing tornadoes as it's been coming across Mississippi. See, the tornado went right up Route 25, then came into Smithville beyond that, and now in the most recent scans here, not seeing as much evidence of debris. However, it continues to be a dangerous storm. There's still a very strong rotation there. That's profoundly strong wind moving away from the radar at this time. In fact, let's get a look at some of the velocities there. There's an outbound velocity of 85 miles per hour. And so, again, to track that up to the northeast, that was going to be coming towards Bexar and also moving towards Scottsville and Atwood. Farther north, tornado warning ongoing in northern parts of Alabama. Lauderdale, Lawrence, Limestone counties under warning. We're watching a swirl that is right about in there. That's going to be moving up towards the Tennessee state line here. Looks like a downstream severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued. Heads up there in Lexington as well as Minor Hill. Severe thunderstorm warning ongoing in the Nashville area. That line of storms now well east of downtown Nashville. Notice we've got some drier air now pushing in across the southern side of all this, and so that's going to mitigate the threat down to the south. There is instability here, and what we're looking for are the areas where the instability and the wind shear get together. Now, I want you to notice what happens to all of this later tonight. Still very strong shear continues into northeast Alabama, North Georgia, and eastern Tennessee, but it's starting to run away from the greatest instability. That's important because that means that the tornado threat will be lessening. It's not going to be gone, but it will be lessening as we get deeper into the overnight hours. And we'll talk more about your forecast and what we're expecting to see coming up here in just a few minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back. We've been following a very dangerous night across parts of the southeast. Ongoing threat for tornadoes and ongoing tornado warnings right now. Tornado warning for Itawamba County in Mississippi and also a downstream warning into Alabama, and that is for Marion County in Alabama. Let's take a look at the velocity here. It has broadened out somewhat. Looks like we've no longer got the threat in Mississippi, but that is still a really strong circulation. That area where you've got the green and the red showing up there, that is where the rotation is occurring. And this is now moving off to the northeast right now. Looks like it's going to pass just northwest of Hamilton as it continues towards the northeast. Let me move that down just a little bit here. So that is going to be coming towards Hodges and also Hackleburg and coming towards Duketon as well. And we're seeing some pretty strong velocities showing up. There's an outbound velocity of 97 miles per hour. So again, it's gotten a little bit broader, but that is still a very strong circulation that will be passing to the northwest of Hamilton and across that Route 43. Unfortunately, moments ago, we saw a debris ball that coming through the Smithville area and also coming into Amory. And so Amory and Smithville, towns number 4 and 5 that have been hit by tornadoes at least tonight, at least 4 to 5 towns being hit by tornadoes, maybe more than that. But that's, 4 to 5 that we know about that have been, directly affected by tornadoes. There may have been some others that were tangentially affected by tornadoes as well. We've also got another concern here in the northern part of Alabama, Lauderdale and Limestone County under warning. We've got a circulation there near Athens, and it's not as well defined as it was a little while ago, but let's just go ahead and track that out just to be on the safe side. That's coming towards Leicester and also moving towards Gordesville. Up into central Tennessee, a warning now for Smith, Trousdale, and Wilson counties. Another warning to the north of that, up towards the Bowling Green area. This line of storms just coming through the Nashville area, Macon, Robertson, and Sumner counties under warning for possible damaging wind. That is now along the 40 corridor and moving very rapidly along to the east. One thing I want to show you is how we expect this is going to evolve tonight. Here you see a product that is the combination of the low-level wind shear along with the instability. And so what we're looking for is where we're seeing that intersection of strong winds aloft at 5,000 feet coming out of a different direction relative to the surface winds, along with where you've got instability. And you can see where that is right now. Now let's see how that changes going into deeper into the evening. We notice there's still a lot of very strong wind shear. It's going to make its way into eastern Tennessee and into North Georgia, but it's starting to run away from the greatest instability. And that's important because when we see that decoupling of the instability and also the wind shear, that means the tornado threat will be lessening as we get deeper through the night. It doesn't mean it's going to be going away. It means it is going to be lessening as we go through the night tonight, Alex. And so there certainly will be an ongoing damaging wind threat. Some very strong storms coming into Montgomery, into Atlanta tonight. And we don't want to sleep on Birmingham because there could be some tornadic storms in central Alabama tonight as well.
Yeah, absolutely areas to watch as we head through the overnight hours. Know how you're going to get those warnings as you're making your way to bed. Those text alerts on your phone, make sure that is toggled on. If you have a NOAA weather radio, make sure that is ready to go as well. That will alert you in the event that we get warnings during the night and wake you up so you can get to your safe zone. But we're not done, because even as we get into tomorrow, we could be talking about some of these stronger storms trying to move east and southbound as well. Now, the threat does diminish for tomorrow, but there is still going to be a threat for some strong storms. And there's the area that we're going to be most focused in on, and that does include Columbus, the Macon area, sliding into Columbia, over towards the low country of South Carolina, and then even down into northern Florida, right along the 10 corridor, and even parts of the coast could get involved in with some of these stronger storms. Damaging winds, probably the primary risk that we'll face, but an isolated tornado is something that we can't completely rule out. So early morning now, we're talking 3, 4 in the morning. Some of these storms may be impacting us there right around the Birmingham area and then pushing east from there. Early for you, probably pre-wake up time around Atlanta, storms coming through there, then heads up around Athens down towards Macon, 9, 10 o'clock, sliding down towards Dothan, so in southeastern parts of Alabama, into Florida, those storms. And as we progress through the afternoon, more of these storms to deal with here right along that line, kind of a broken line of storms, but some of those again could be strong to potentially even severe before things start to settle down a bit more once we get into our Saturday night. And again, that's all thanks to our front that's going to push on through. Now the front, as we work through the weekend, kind of stalls out a bit here for us. So we're not done with the threat for rain as we head through the weekend. You'll see what happens here as we park our way from Saturday into Sunday. We'll have instability kind of confined right along the Gulf Coast. So that'll be the area we'll have at least the best fuel for thunderstorms to get going. And the moisture, that'll be on the rise here for us as well, with those southerly winds bringing that in out of the Gulf of Mexico. So as we get into Sunday, here's another opportunity here from eastern Louisiana into middle Georgia for the chance for some strong and severe storms.
Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of severe storms. We've got tornado warnings to tell you about now in Alabama and Marion County under warning until 11:45. Also a downstream warning in effect here for Franklin County, that going until 12:15. We're watching this swirl that is now just to the north of Hamilton and moving towards the northeast, or rather just plain northeast, I should say, and that's going to be coming up towards Hackleburg, also Duketon, and into Phil Campbell and Carroll Crossroads as well. Possible tornado coming your way. This is the same cell that has produced multiple tornadoes tonight across parts of Mississippi. Also an ongoing tornado warning in effect here in Lauderdale and Limestone counties going until 11:45. Let's look and see what's going on the radar here. I'm seeing certainly a damaging wind threat. Along with that, a little calm ahead to the north of that, and that coming up into southern parts of Tennessee right now. I don't see anything that really stands out at this time from a radar perspective. We'll keep our eyes on that for you. Farther north, also severe thunderstorm warning in Smith and Trousdale and Wilson counties under warning. Then a downstream warning in effect here that's approaching Cookeville, DeKalb, and Putnam and Smith counties under warning until midnight tonight. And yet another warning up into Kentucky, that is Allen and Warren counties under warning here until 11:45. Damaging wind is going to be the threat along with these storms. You notice the drier air now pushing in, and not just from the west, but also from the south. So that has helped us out a little bit, even though there's a lot of instability down to the south here. You notice that these storms are not really doing a whole lot, and that is because of the presence of that drier air. So we've got a smaller and smaller area where things are really getting together for severe weather. A lot of wind shear in the atmosphere. That's very important. Winds coming out of the south at the surface and then coming out of the southwest and a lot more rapidly at 5,000 feet. And where that is intersecting with the instability, the area of yellow there, that's where you've got the greatest tornado threat. Now watch as we go through the night tonight. We're going to continue to see very strong winds aloft. They'll push into northwest Georgia and they'll push into eastern Tennessee. So you've got the wind shear, but it's starting to move away from the greatest instability. You see the greatest axis of instability continues to be in central parts of Alabama. And so what we're going to see is that there will be a tornado threat in central Alabama, but there will be less and less of a threat as the line continues to move eastward and over into Georgia and southeastern parts of Alabama. So there will be slightly less of a threat in terms of tornadoes into eastern Alabama, but certainly an ongoing threat in the central part of the state. Here you see the supercells as they're going to be approaching Birmingham and Huntsville, and so we could very well continue to see tornado warnings over the next few hours here. Alex?
All right, Carl. Yeah, indeed. Pretty busy evening, no doubt about it, tracking these storms having an impact on us, particularly there into Mississippi, where we were watching that one lone storm that was a destructive storm that impacted a number of towns, including Silver City. And we're getting an opportunity to see what's happening there in Silver City at this hour. Our storm tracker, Brett Adair, showing us the emergency vehicles that are on hand. Looks like maybe some ambulance vehicles, emergency management officials as well. You see those flashing lights that are in place there. This is one of the cities that no doubt felt the impacts here from the storm. A number of areas seeing some damage. Here's another vantage point from Charles Peak. He's in another area and he's been roaming around there, showing you some of the damage. A lot of tree damage, some structural damage. Look at that there. I'm not sure what type of structure that is, but clearly that is not the way it's supposed to look there. That may look like, almost look like maybe the fire department, where maybe a fire truck. It's tough to tell what that is, but in either case, clearly damage sustained to that structure there. And you see, again, more of the flashing lights there of some of the emergency vehicles there on the right side of the screen there. And unfortunately, hearing from Charles Peak that there were unfortunately some fatalities because of the storm there, and a number of injuries as well. 3 known fatalities and deaths from the storm at this point, and 14 injuries. And that, again, is the very latest there. Hopefully that number does not go up, but this storm was a very dangerous and unfortunately now deadly storm there in Silver City. First impacting the Rolling Forks area, then eventually making its way over towards Silver City, Winona, Amory, all spots that were impacted by the very same tornado. I mean, we've been tracking this thing all evening long, and unfortunately it is still remaining pretty busy here with the storms now moving and pushing into parts of Alabama, where we still have a number of warnings that are in place at this time. So again, it's a dangerous night. Unfortunately, I fear that we are going to be looking at more images as the daytime approaches. We'll be looking in the light of the day, more of these images of the destruction from this tornado.
Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of severe weather. Still now watching some tornado warnings in Alabama. This is the very same cell that has hit at least 5 towns tonight in Mississippi. And right now, Marion County under warning, and then another warning in effect here for Franklin County as well. Looking at what's going on the radar, we've got a swirl that is near Route 43. It's not as well developed as it has been. You know, go back a couple of frames, especially right in there, you can very clearly see that swirl showing up there, and it's a little less well defined right now. So we'll just follow that forward, see where that's going to be headed. That's coming towards Hackleburg, Phil Campbell, and also Liberty Hill, Carroll Crossroads, and all of those areas. Possible tornado coming your way. And then to the north, ongoing a tornado warning for Lauderdale Limestone. I don't believe we have as much of a threat for a tornado there. Looks like some damaging wind coming through. Then we've got some warnings here into Tennessee, DeKalb, Putnam, and Smith County under warning. So heads up in Cookville, could be some damaging wind moving your way. And then we go into Allen and Warren County, and a severe thunderstorm warning here in the southern parts of Kentucky as well. As mentioned, it's been a terrible night tonight. We've had just an awful situation, several towns in Mississippi, including going into Smithville, Alex. It's been really, really rough. I can't remember. Certainly we've had nights when we've had a lot of debris signatures on radars, but I can't remember the last time when so many towns or hit directly by tornadoes. Just an awful night.
It really has. And to think, you know, it's the same tornado. I mean, it was literally this one tornado that raced its way across the state of Mississippi and caused those issues here. You mentioned the number of cities being impacted, including Rolling Fork, I should say, as well as Silver City. And that's where we find our very own Charles Peak showing us some of the images there. And Charles, as we look at this here, it looks like, again, another structure sustaining damage. Is that sort of maybe a housing place for fire department trucks? Is that what that is?
Yeah, Alex, it looks like a metal building that at least engine one is the one that you're seeing. The other one is empty. The other bay is empty. This is a county Belzoni fire department, is a county fire department, and they handle the whole county. So this must have been one of their substations out here, but you can see it sustains considerable damage. You can also see a lot of the ambulances have finally made it here. I just saw several school buses pulling in, so there's quite a few displaced people here. I did talk to the EMA director. He had no idea at this point in time how many were displaced, but they were trying to get that. But I guess they're bringing in the buses to, be able to take them to another location. I did not ascertain where that is at this point in time, though.
Again, we're looking at here one location here. As you've sort of discerned and moved around, is it widespread damage or is it just confined to kind of one area?
Here it's basically the northeast corner of the Silver City area here. I would say there's probably 30 plus homes that have considerable damage, some destroyed, but I have not been on the other side. But one of the fire officials told me that it was primarily on this northeast corner of the city here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd imagine, looking at some of the debris that is there, it's probably not very easy getting around town right now.
No, and you still can't get into these neighborhoods. Trees blocking power lines down. That's what made search and rescue very difficult. Fire officials couldn't even. They had to park out on the main highway and literally carry all their equipment in, and I helped them carry some of it out. And I'm going to tell you, some of those jaws of life things are heavy, and they were having to hump that, having to step over debris, power lines, that type of stuff. And the fire officials here just did a stellar job to do what they could as quickly as they could with limited manpower that they had.
And you mentioned the limited manpower. You talked about how some of the actual storm trackers who had been on this storm kind of put the cameras down and, lent a hand.
Yeah, all the ones that I saw were doing that. A couple of them were here even earlier. One is a first responder and was trying to do what he could to help, used all his equipment. At one point in time, one of them said he was having to do CPR on an individual. And so, many of the storm chasers that I know around here, they're out here to capture the tornadoes and that type of stuff. But when you have these situations, taking care of the people and doing what you can to help is the first priority. I know Brett Adair, that is also working with us tonight. He was out there helping people, and he was pretty shook up when I talked to him some of the scenes that he was having to deal with earlier.
Yeah, I fear, Charles, we're seeing a lot of the images here in the dark of the night. In the morning, I don't even want to think about what we may be seeing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even in the dark of the night, some of it that has been seen here tonight. And I'll never get used to that part of it, but unfortunately, we do everything we can to warn the people and let them know that these situations are possible.
Absolutely. Well, Charles Peak, thanks so much again for the images and the update there. That is out of Silver City, Mississippi. That's another area that was certainly impacted by these storms there in Mississippi. We've also had storms that have tracked their way across the state of Tennessee. Nashville, you had a nasty line of storms blast through not too long ago, about maybe a half an hour or so ago. That nasty line is pushed on off towards the east, where we still have a severe thunderstorm warning. That's for parts of the Granville area, but the severe threat in Nashville, much diminished. back as we follow the storms moving across parts of the south. And Carl, we're getting some new video in here of what may be a tornado. It's hard. Again, we talk about how difficult it is to see anything when it is in the night. And this is a clear example of that. Yes, you get the flashes of lightning, which at times illuminate what looks like clearly a lowering in the skies, but is it a tornado?
Yeah, it's definitely a lowering. One thing that I'm noticing is that I don't see a lot of motion in it, and for that reason, I think it's probably not a tornado, and maybe more likely to be either a wall cloud or a shelf cloud. If I could see a little more motion in it, I'd be more convinced that it was a tornado. But I think a lot of times when you get a wall cloud like that, it's going to have that really vertical sort of face to it, and you'll get that really pronounced lowering that occurs with a cell that is likely to produce a tornado. But whatever the case, I mean, it's certainly a daunting sight. I mean, to see something like that illuminated by lightning coming towards you, I mean, that had to have been very scary.
Oh, absolutely, no question about it. And again, this was an area that was under a tornado warning at the time. So, yeah, you absolutely want to mess around with that. Getting inside, safe zone is where you want to be. But again, this was from moments ago as the storms were moving across the far northern stretches of Alabama. Now, these storms have had a big impact on the state of Mississippi. We had one supercell storm that was basically producing a tornado almost across the entire state here. We were just watching this thing cycle up, cycle down, cycle up, cycle down, and unfortunately it cycled up and spawned a tornado here in Silver City, Mississippi, and we're looking in on some of the damage from that. This was a home. I say was because clearly no one is going to be able to live in this thing any longer. But clear destruction here from this tornado there in Silver City. This is just one structure that was damaged by the tornado as it moved its way through Silver City. This is a shot coming in from our very own Charles Peak, who has been watching this at this point and unfortunately reporting not just injuries but deaths from the tornado as it moved its way through Silver City. And in the dark of the night, we're seeing this. Carl, when we finally get up in the morning and see the light of the day shine down, it is unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be a very good sight.
It's just so heartbreaking because, these tornadoes, these towns were actually surrounded by farmland. So it could very easily have been a series of tornadoes that just came across open fields all night long, but instead, the same cell producing tornadoes that hit at least 5 towns that we know about, maybe as many as 6 or more. I can tell you for the first time since 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, since we've started on the air, we do not have any tornado warnings right now. We do expect that there's going to be a slowly lessening, not evaporating, but slowly lessening threat going through the next several hours here. There are some severe thunderstorm warnings in northern parts of Alabama. Winston County under warning right now. Also warning to the north of that, Franklin and Lawrence County. Another warning there near Huntsville as well. What's happening here is you've got this vigorous system now coming through, but you notice how there's a lot of orange showing up. That is drier air in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That's been coming in from the south. So even though there is a pretty good bit of instability to the south here, it's not really being realized because of that drier air. You don't have quite as much of that farther north, and so what we're seeing here is the intersection of these southerly winds and then winds coming out of the southwest very rapidly. That's the low-level wind shear that gives us tornadoes. So we look for where that intersects with the instability, which is on the low side, but you don't need a ton of instability when you've got such strong dynamics, such strong wind shear. Now, as we take this forward in time, we notice that the wind shear continues right through the night tonight, but it's going to start to outrun some of that instability. And so we're going to see a lessening threat, but again, it's not going to go away. So this is how this evolves over the next few hours. This is a model product that puts those parameters together. And what it shows is you see the deeper reds early on here. Certainly there's going to be some threat for tornadoes across central Alabama, but it'll be less and less of a threat. Do notice, though, that it's not nothing. It is possible that we could still get some tornado warnings coming into parts of Georgia and southeast Alabama. It's just not going to be the same level of threat that we've been looking at through a lot of the day today. Here you see the model forecast, storms approaching Birmingham, 2 o'clock in the morning. We do still see some individual cells there. There's still going to be that wind shear, so there will still be some potential for some tornadic cells. Then more of a line developing into the very early morning hours. Again, still some potential that we could see some tornado warnings with that even early in the morning in central Alabama. And there you see we've got a 5 out of 10 on the Torcon across parts of Mississippi, but we see a lessening threat as you get farther eastward, a 3 out of 10 in central Alabama, and then a 2 out of 10 by the time you get towards Montgomery and towards the Atlanta metro area. So again, for the first time in a very, very long time, no current tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings in northern Alabama and also in central parts of Tennessee. Well, it is time now for one more thing, and let's take a look at where the current warnings are right now. We do not have any tornado warnings for the first time in many, many hours. We had nearly unbroken tornado warnings over several hours, and unfortunately, a terrible night tonight in Mississippi. At least 5, maybe 6 towns hit directly by tornadoes and by the same thunderstorm, the same cell producing all of those tornadoes. Right now, severe thunderstorm warning in effect in Winston County going until 12:30. Another warning here to the north of that as well. That's coming towards Decatur. That's Franklin and Lawrence counties under warning until 12:30. And yet another warning here north of Huntsville. That is Limestone and Lincoln and Madison counties under warning until 12:15. One thing that we like to pay attention to is where the low-level wind shear is. So where we're seeing the intersection of stronger winds at 5,000 feet, indicated by the blue, along with the change in winds there between the surface and 5,000 feet, and where there is some instability along with that. Now, as we take this forward through the night tonight, we're starting to see that strongest wind shear begin to outrun the instability a little bit. So we're going to see a little less of a threat, but it's not going to be nothing. Even into the Atlanta metro, 5 o'clock in the morning, we do still have some wind shear and just a little bit of instability. And so a model product that puts all of that together, showing you that the threat for tornadoes continues in central Alabama. It will be lessening overnight, but not completely gone even into early tomorrow morning. We'll continue to break into programming as necessary and follow these storms throughout the night.